You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects, which is movies, TV shows, video games and board games. I'm your host Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This episode, well, we thought we'd end it on Halloween, of all days, because, that's Spooktacular for you. We were so popular this year that we thought we'd end it with our top 5 horror movies part 2. Obviously, mine was done last year, but I'm joined by a bunch of other guys that love to talk about horrors and their top 5s. Guys, introduce yourselves around the table, please.
Hi, guys. I'm John. I'm back.
Hey, guys. It's Gal, a.k.a. Grey Fox.
And hi, it's Dave, a.k.a. Dawn of the Dave.
Whoa! These get better every time they happen. I love these.
I look forward to this every time.
So, hi, guys. Welcome to the end of, obviously, Spooktacular season. Have you got your top 5s for this?
Yeah, yes. I actually enjoyed it this time doing it. The first time I actually, I was saying earlier, proper enjoyed it. Not pissed off, I don't want that, I want this one. I was like, yes.
It's official. You got your final 5 now, yeah?
It annoyed me because I had to keep changing my list.
I had to shrink my list.
Yeah.
I've got such a long list.
Could have done a top 50, I think.
Yes.
You got loads of honourable mentions then.
Yep.
Yeah, which we'll do after the top 5. So we'll get those done with first. So obviously we're going to go through the questions. Let's go with the obvious one first. If it doesn't spoil your top 5, what was the first horror movie you got to watch?
Ooh.
I think mine was The Burning.
Okay.
It's not on my list, so...
The Korean?
No.
There is an old movie that
involves
the big scissors called The Burning. 80s film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, of course, I was brought up in Ireland, so all films like that were all banned. So the more they were banned, the more people wanted to watch them. So so I was probably about 14, I suppose, when I saw it.
So tell us about it.
Here we go.
Tell us about it, John. The year was what, 1980?
Back in my day, I can't even remember.
Oh, he's not playing now.
He's got his arms crossed, guys.
No, it's probably. I just remember watching it. It was a hooky copy, an old VHS tape.
Hooky copy, I love that.
Yeah. A Del Boy special.
Yes, I was going to say, another way of saying shoddy.
Yeah, a Del Boy special. It was a good film. I enjoyed watching that. It kind of got me into a lot more horror films. But I think that was probably the first one I saw. It's the first one that sprung to mind.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah. What about you, G?
My one, the one I remember vaguely was it was actually Alien.
The first one?
Yeah, I remember it, because I used to sleep in my own room once, and I remember watching it, and then I remember hiding under the covers, sneaking and watching it with her.
How old were you?
Must have been 6 or 7.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Wow. It was good. But I got another one which I won't mention, which
because it's in your top 5. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get to that later. Oh, right. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So that's one of the first proper scary films. But obviously, I watched it at an age I don't understand. But later on, I've realised what it was, and I was like, oh my god, it's a wicked film. But yeah,
Dave.
Hills Have Eyes.
The original or the remake?
Original. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So again, quite young. We snuck it at a sleepover, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I must have been 12 or something, and terrifying.
Yeah. So you're right.
So it almost went on my list. It's a very good.
Maybe the top 10 or.
Yeah, I would say so. Although I quite like the remake.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, me and John watched those a while ago.
Yeah.
Is that like the hillbillies Yeah. I've seen the remake. I haven't seen.
You're just driving down some lonely road in across America, and then suddenly, oh no, the petrol or the gas is running out.
Yeah. But you can't be saying that in times like this, dude.
Oh, no. We are living in a fuel crisis.
Yeah, but, we're not really. But
and then you see a single lone gas station oh yeah, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to run for the hills. I'm going to stop there. Oh look, there's no one appears to be around.
And you're fucked.
Yeah, and then next thing you know,
that sounds like a lot like Jeepers Creepers. No. They just stop in that area. No, sorry, I'm thinking
there's a lot of similarities.
It's a good movie though, Jeepers Creepers. I love that movie.
I love that one.
Yeah, but it's the one where it ends up with all the sort of like mutant.
Yeah, they're all like
inbred.
deformed and stuff.
Deformed.
Yeah, I've never seen the original. I've seen the remake.
Mutant Family. Yeah.
The remake is pretty brilliant.
Yeah, it's all right. I enjoy that.
He ends up in a freezer full of body parts.
Yeah.
He wakes up in that like chest freezer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's just.
I just remember deformed like hillbillies.
Well, yeah.
So basically
talking about
crawly
your
folk.
That's racist.
How's it racist if it's crawly folk?
Oh yeah.
Or you'll piss off all the Crawley fans.
Who cares? Oh, sorry. Someone's phone's buzzing in. Yes, all right. So next question then. What was the one horror film that kept you up at night as a kid? Obviously, you've already explained what yours was, G.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have that issue as a kid? Was it still the
the
first one you watched, or?
No, I think I've mentioned this before. One of the first Dracula films. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember watching. I remember watching it and going to bed at night like just shit scared that I had the covers up around my neck and everything. I was only like 10, 12, I suppose.
Well, like the Hammer horror ones, or
probably more likely black and white jobby anyway. So yeah.
Oh, Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, that was on television late at night. Mum and Dad had gone out. Grandparents were keeping an eye on us, and I managed to sneak down and watch this horror film. I'd read about it because obviously we had a little TV guide, so I knew it was on.
The TV guide. God, I remember them.
Yeah,
they were amazing.
Yeah, they were good.
You plan your monthly recordings in advance.
Just about
on
to
your
say,
VHS.
Exactly. Yeah. Short play, long play.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I think not really a horror movie, but the thing that it creeped me out when I was young. There's two things that really stick out when I was very young, so like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And these aren't specifically horror movies, but they creep me out. And the first one was that guy who's the sort of the alien villain in Men in Black.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's got all them bugs in him.
Oh right, yeah, the first one, yeah. Oh mate,
that was really.
He
good
was
the way
terrified.
it-
So I saw that at the cinema. I think that's one of the first films I remember going to see at the cinema.
really.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that creeped me out for ages. And the other one's linked because it's the Mummy. You know when the scarabs go under the skin?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
When I was a kid, I seriously thought that could happen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're in the garden and you're just messing around, and those woodlouse you see just
Oh,
around.
and they go under your skin.
I was like, that's going to go under my skin, and then I'm going to see it crawling, and it's going to crawl its way up towards my brain.
It's all
gonna go-
lumpy.
it's gonna
yeah.
go under
It's
your
going to
nail,
go under my
yeah.
skin,
Yeah,
and then if
my
it gets
eyes.
past my arms, it's going to go into like my heart,
And it always
or my
comes out your
brain,
eyes.
or my eyes,
Yeah.
and I'm going to I'd say earliest thing that terrified me from a movie is those two things.
Okay.
I obviously don't like bugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a bug thing?
It's obviously a bug thing for me. Yeah.
My earliest one, but it's not actually a horror film, but it was actually. So again, it was when I was sleeping in my own room, and I watched before bed. I watched Ghostbusters, and I think it's the first
Original
one.
Yeah.
Where the ghost kind of comes out to the window and grabs the baby from the window.
That's the second one.
The second one.
Yeah.
And for some reason that freaked me out. I couldn't. I thought something.
Oh.
He's been cancelled for talking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So that, and I was always terrified that some ghost was gonna fucking kidnap me out the window or something. But there was other films that scared me, but at later years, my scare factor was more like I'm really like terrified of paranormal stuff. So when the film Paranormal Activities, it was like I know it's going off topic, but oh my guys,
Well, it's a horror film, so it's not really off topic.
Oh, well.
Well, it depends what he's going to talk
I'm
about.
a bit
now.
old now. Obviously, I think it came out when I was in my early 20s or something, and we, as a group, we went out to watch it, and obviously the second one, third one, we all made a thing, and we'd be messing. Everyone turned the lights out and stuff. Like, oh, no. So we were actually it terrified me. So I was actually, after watching that, I was just like, if I'm at home alone or something, I'll be shitting myself.
Did you have to go around and like check all the doors were locked?
No, not like that. It would just be like at the time
windows, yeah.
comes to like bedtime, and I'll just be like, shit, what's that noise? Someone, it was just really spooked me out. And this is when I was a bit older as well.
Yeah, I love it when you get that feeling after
Yeah,
watching
it's
a horror
alright.
movie.
Is there still that one film where a horror film where you can't watch on your own in the dark?
No, because I love watch. I love to be scared. So
there isn't one that still like sort of really terrifies you. You can't watch on your own.
Yeah, probably.
I think we've talked about this before. It was that, and it's not a horror movie.
That was fair enough.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yes, yeah.
I still haven't seen that.
That's fair enough. No,
yeah, there is,
mine's ET at the end of the day, so I can't watch that.
There is one. It's on my. It's in my top 10, so I can't mention. But yeah,
top 10 or top 5.
Top 5. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
And
we'll come to that later. Then.
Yeah, so I'll be. Yeah, I'm actually a pussy when it comes to scary films. I act like I'm not, but I'm inside. I'm like shit myself. So
that's why John's holding his hand under the table for this recording.
I mean, I still can't watch the Velociraptor scenes in Jurassic Park on my own. Yeah, that freaks me out, man. Really? For a PG, that's terrifying.
Hiding in the cupboard underneath.
Yeah, too fucking right. No, not that bit. The end with the Velociraptors.
Right, the kitchen bit.
And you're like, and he's like, no, we can't move.
Yeah, that was
because we're being hunted. It's like that. That fear of like something is watching you in the jungle, and just one wrong move and you're like dead, sort of thing.
Clever girl.
And and he's like, I gotta go now. And the music, the way that just hits, and it's like that's terrifying.
And the hand of
Mr. Arnold, and then the whole back in business. Yeah. No one fucking knew that was going to happen. Terrifying. So, you're all big fans of horror. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But what decade of horror would you say is your favourite?
Ooh.
Your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, your noughties?
80s.
I knew you'd go for that.
Yeah.
I say
90s late
80s
to mid 90s, I suppose.
I say 90s to early 20s.
Okay.
2000, sorry.
Dave?
Yeah, I don't say. I would say because I quite like some of the earlier stuff, which I'll go into later. And then I like newer stuff as well.
Yeah.
But for different reasons. So I'd find it hard to sort of pin it down because it depends what I'm in the mood for.
I really feel like there's like most of the new stuff that come out don't really like just
No, there's a lot of trash that comes out these
But
days.
there's one or two that would be, oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think the 90s I don't know if that's the year where those certain films have come out, like Candyman.
The original Candyman.
Yeah, it's like it's not on my list. It was like so close to being on my list, but the fact that I remember going to watch it my mate's house, and then every time I go to the toilet, because there used to be a mirror in my toilet, and I'm like, don't look at it, because if I look at the mirror in my mind, it will start saying Candyman. I'm like, shut up! Somebody's doing piss. So that film sort of like freaked me the fuck out. And so several other films like that came out at those sort of times, and I think it was like the best time for horror films. And whereas now, you got to do like a really, really good one. In order, it's just the scare factor.
I think where you're coming from is why for me I like it. The newer stuff you have to go for a different route. Because I think audiences today are spoilt in a way. So
definitely,
we're growing up in a time where you can have really good CGI. So nothing is sort of off limits anymore.
Yeah.
If you want a monster that's head is going to detach and start running around and like leaping on people or something like that, you can have that now.
Yeah.
So we're quite spoilt by CG and stuff. So I think you need to work a little bit harder or do maybe different avenues
and then
to get that same fear. Whereas back in the late 80s or early 90s when CGI, there were a lot more sort of practical effects and things like that, and you couldn't. I mean, Alien is a good example of that. Like it was brought up earlier. You know, if you'd have tried to make a massive alien statue scary and kept it on screen for more than a minute or so, it would have looked fake. Yeah. And and I think if you look at the original It TV series, that's the same thing, because that alien at the end of it is quite funny when they're sort of knocking it to the floor and kicking it and then pulling its heart out. And it's like a little rubberized thing. Yeah. So.
But then that's where there is a difference in some of the horror films, because some of the horror films they go for It's like a gore fest. You
Yeah,
know, it's
exactly,
It's how gory can we make this film? Whereas other films, it's more psychological.
Yeah. But I think sometimes you're a bit jaded to that as well.
Yes.
Like in today's
I like a bit.
audience.
I like a bit of both.
Because if you'd have had some really gory, and I'm going to talk about this in some of my favourite movies earlier, but if you had a really good sort of practical gore effect that would probably taken an art department or a special effects department ages to physically build and make, that was so shocking and a new thing. Whereas today, if you see something that's been CGI'd, you're like, oh, that's cool, like a zombie melting or something. You think, oh, that's good, but you're not shocked by it like you might have been in.
Yeah, especially like a gross factor to it. It's like you can tell it's not real, so you're like, I'm not really grossed out by it. But yeah, I see where you come from.
Yeah, same. Like the point you said as well. Like, you know, the way you're right, we are spoilt. You know, but I think in a way it kind of forces our directors of now to like think out the box.
Yeah,
you know,
the
like,
good ones.
Yeah, like James Wan who do practical effect now. So that's coming back now. Like all these stuff is all there's no CGIs, and in a way it's kind of good. Like, it, you know, makes certain films stand out more than others. You know. Yeah.
So like I said, it's so I think I like them. I don't know if you really had to push me down, I'd probably say like 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Personally, but then that's not to say there's some really good horrors coming out now.
There's some
that I really enjoy.
What did you say? Mid-90s to noughties?
Candyman.
Yeah, sorry. So,
90s to early 2000s. Sorry, I thought you said what film.
So why is that?
So those are the times where I watched the films, and some of the films that I thought was amazing, and actually, you know, it's still in my head. Whereas films I watched after 2000, and even now, and up until 2010 to 2010, there's only one or two. Whereas others it's not stuck with me. It's not as impactful.
What about you, John? You said 80s, right? And why is that?
I don't know. I think because I was, I was probably about where am I? 15 to 20 then. So it's like 12 to 20, shall we say? It's an impressionable age with films like that. And I've always had because I lived in Ireland and that, a lot of the horror films were all banned. So of course, if you ban something, everyone wants to see it. So a lot of the films that I saw were like late 70s, early 80s, and whatever. And they were like a Doughboy special on a VHS tape around a mate's house or down the pub or something. So that's what got me into the horror films. So I've kind of like stuck with that, really.
Yeah. 80s had a major gore era.
Yeah, and then as I grew up and I was able to watch these films legitimately, shall we say, and go to the cinemas and watch them. So I think it's that's that age group, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll say late 70s to early 90s. There's like 20 years.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a tough question because, like Dave said, it's every era has its masterpieces, and it's a tough pick too.
Then again, the era John's talking about, those are the eras kind of kick-started a lot of things, and a lot of things are getting remade, and a lot of reference to that as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got the birth of a lot of horror icons, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Me personally, I would love to go back to the 70s because that era had like some glorious masterpiece horror films, like John said, going back to band movies, your Texas Chainsaws, and The Exorcist, Jaws, Alien, and I kind of you know when you hear stories about like The Exorcist, for example, like people were fainting in the cinema, ambulances were all out there. Yeah. I would love to be there just to see if that was legit. Yeah. Like if people were telling the truth there, because you know how people over exaggerate shit.
You know what I'm saying? Don't they, to boost the story?
Yeah, and just to be the first time to see Jaws pop up out the water, and come and chub some of this shit, and then you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'd love to be there. I
grew up with a lot of the Hammer House, the Hammer horrors. So I've always been a big fan of like the original, like Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, the original black and white
Chris Lee area,
Christopher Lee. See,
Christopher Lee,
I met them at the airport, didn't I? Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and that lot. That was.
Tell us about it, John.
Oh, God Almighty. I can't remember when it was, but
it was 1900.
No, it would have been in the 90s, and they were going. There was. We used to get a lot of the actors used to come through. They used to play like the Pro-Am golf circuit down in Spain. So we used to get a lot of them come through. So one evening we had Bruce Forsyth and his wife. And then we had Peter Cushing and his wife, and Christopher Lee and his wife, and someone I can't remember who the fourth one was. And so I mean, I just got to, they all came through together as a big group. So I was, got to see them, and it was like I've seen them play their horror roles in movies, and here they are like in front of you. Sort of. So it's a bit of like you kind of like say to yourself, "Wow," it's like if you go to you go to a concert to see a group that you really really like, and when you actually see them yourself, it's one thing to watch them on television, or on a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever, but to actually see them. I'd seen their films and watched their horror had an effect on me, sort of thing. So to actually see them in front of me, walk past me, it was like kind of like an awe.
But that was very surreal for you, then. Wasn't
God, yeah. I just, wanted to go up to like Christopher Lee, where I'm going to say I wanted to
put me in like a Dracula chokehold, take a photo.
Or say, I want to suck your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, I'm going back to both of your points, and in a way, like I'm kind of jealous because John has actually witnessed it at first hand on all those films that come out. No, not me.
He's that old.
No, because films like.
I'm 92.
I'm still playing catch up. Some of the films, like I haven't seen. I'm still playing catch up, but I've seen. Clips of it, maybe being spoiled to me, or even reference from other films. So when I actually go back to watch it, it's not like
it's not the same impact as it would have been back
Whereas
then. Yeah,
if you watch like something like Exorcist for the first,
but that's
time,
what Dave's saying about the whole sport for choice thing, really, isn't it?
No.
It's like it doesn't wow you anymore because you either know it's coming, or it doesn't look as good as you want it to be.
Yeah. I think also what he's trying to sort of say is that when we were born, all of these established horror characters are already out there.
Yeah.
They're already in pop culture. They're already on T-shirts, or they're already, on movie posters and things, and they come up in TV and things like that. So we were sort of, you're not experiencing that firsthand. You've always known about Freddy.
Whereas
Jason and things like that.
There's always some kid talking about it in the playground.
So it's not a new thing. You're not sitting down and going, "Oh my, who's this person? What's their thing?" You're aware of them.
It's like you buy the film on Blu-ray, shall we say, and then you take it home and you sit and watch it because you've heard about this film and you really want to see it. But the film's like from the 70s or the 80s, so it's not in the cinema anymore. So the only chance you've got to see it is on the disc. And then every now and again, like what we have lately is like 40-year specials or 50-year specials, and they do like a one night or in the cinema, and that's your chance to actually go and see it.
Oh yeah, but it's not a new thing to us because we're already kind of aware of what's.
There's some of them I haven't seen in the cinema, but when they come up, when they're doing their 40-year or 50-year anniversary, whatever, I will try.
I usually get a text saying, "It's here, it's in the cinema, let's go."
So because I know it's not a horror film, but we did it the other night with Dune, didn't we?
Well, we saw the original Halloween was back in the cinema 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool to see because again, it was obviously I've seen it, but. To experience it at the cinema, it was, I saw my wife as well, and it still made her jump, even though she's seen it many, many times.
Didn't we see Alien as well?
We saw Alien as well,
That was really good.
So, slightly linked to that, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Do you prefer to watch a horror movie in the cinema, so in that environment with an audience, or do you prefer to watch it like on your own or with a friend or another half in your own room? With all the lights off.
Depends on which one you mean.
It depends if we've seen it before or not.
Yeah.
So, because I don't know, I quite like watching it on my own.
Well, I mentioned about I like to do the 70s era.
Yeah.
It's because I want to go back and see their reaction.
Yeah.
But don't you find, because I've sometimes watched things, I watched Paranormal I think it was Insidious. Insidious in the I think I was working briefly in a cinema in that when that came out, and it completely ruined it for me because I'm sitting in the cinema, and rather than getting thoroughly drawn into that move where a noise out beside you or behind you makes you physically jump, I was sitting in the cinema looking at like this woman who was like a row behind to my right, who's got her knees like right up in up. She's got her coat over her head so she can't see, and yet she's still going and it sort of took me out of it a little bit. So I just wondered what your convince me for horror.
It's always the cinema. I always love to go to the cinema to see all the stuff.
It depends on the film.
But then when we used to do every Halloween, we used to do like a movie horror marathon here. and it was just good to have the group of us here. And it's 50-50 for me, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
although
especially the setup you got, it's almost like the same.
yeah, but it's like when I mentioned my favorite sequel is a horror movie. I would take that to the cinema any day over home viewing, regardless. But then, like, it all depends what you watch, I guess, isn't it? But yeah, I see. I'm kind of 50-50
I mean, some of the
that.
times I have physically jumped the most in my life ever have been when I've been so drawn into a horror movie downstairs, and it's like the middle of the night, the kids are in bed.
Yeah.
And I've got the curtains closed, and I love to get myself into that. If something's drawn me into that stage where I'm nervous and I'm worried because I'll see something move in the darkness in the corner of my eye. But some of the worst scares have been when my lovely wife, for some unknown reason, has decided that this is the night she wants to wake up in the middle of the night, creep down and get a drink or something. And I haven't heard her. And my house is really noisy, so I usually hear the floorboards. And she's just come up and like put a hand on my shoulder on the couch.
Oh, fuck that.
And I've timing as well.
It is, yeah.
I've had that.
What are those exact words you tell her at that moment?
Fuck off! My heart.
I've had my
defib. No, seriously,
died,
that's one of the worst scares you could have.
It is. Yeah. I had my little one do the same thing. Yeah, my missus has done it. They come. You get so engrossed in the film. They like you say, your wife can now for a drink of water or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is.
Think you're safe because you think they're in bed.
All of a sudden, you get this hand on your shoulder, and it's not at the beginning of the film. It's always when there's something just about to happen, and then and it frightens the shit out of me.
I know on that topic, one of the things that scare me as well, when you wake up middle of the night and then you like get a drink of water and then you go back to sleep and then you're looking into that space and you're like, there's something there. Like, what is that? And it's like, obviously it's your coat or something. You're like,
no, mate. See, what happens is try and watch one of the Paranormal Activity movies, okay, right? Go to bed, wake up after night, and then your daughter's at the end of your bed, just there looking at you. Turns out she's only sleepless, bless her, but you see as soon as shit out of you.
Can I,
fuck that.
On the subject of children, can I say, we were talking about this last night at Gatwick, and you missed out on this,
Oh,
G.
damn it, I missed Dave's talk.
We were talking about how terrifying it is. And this is some real life horror for you guys, for all the fans out there, is when you've got your little baby monitor and you're in bed, and then you hear your kid in the middle of the night suddenly talking to someone, and they're so young they kind of babbling, and then you go in and you're like, are you dreaming? No,
I hope you are.
And then you're like, what were you talking to? One of your teddies?
Yeah.
And they go, no, the woman. And you're like, fuck off. Sarah.
That's it.
Get me some Sage and an Exorcist.
Oh my god,
that terrified me, man. My eldest did that.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
one of the topic again. One of the stories that this is told by one of our guys that come here, Goku. He told me a story about this nanny that was looking after a baby, and the baby was constantly crying in the room, and every time she came in, it stopped crying, and every time she went. And obviously on the side there was like a bunch of toys like dolls and stuff. And what later they found out was there was a guy dressed as a clown and was just like freaking her out. And then obviously
dancing clown.
No, seriously.
Anyway,
down here.
Goku was telling me on the phone, and I'm still getting shivers. And that's still kind of creepy. And then
so what? There was a real guy,
dressed in the clown, hiding in the fucking.
Fucking Goku's childhood was messed up.
No. It was a story that he learned, and he freaked him out. And he told me, and I was on the bus, and I was just fuck that creepy. That was creepy, man.
I always remember. This was during the day, and I'd be.
That button is paying for itself now.
And he's walking right into it. Come on.
And I'd been out. I think I'd been at work, and I came back, and it was Yvonne's turn to go to work. So it was like middle of the afternoon, and I had my little one with me, and she was only about maybe 2, and I thought, I'll sit and read her a story or something. So I'm reading her a story. I was talking to her about something or whatever anyway. And then she suddenly stopped me and she turned around, and we were in my bedroom, sitting on my bed, and the door was open, and she stopped me and she said, "Daddy, why is that a woman in our house?" And I went, "What?" She said, "Why is there a woman in our house?"
Reaching for the katana.
Yeah, and I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "There isn't a woman in the house." She said, "Yes, a woman's just walked past the bedroom door." And that totally.
That's when John goes.
Oh my!
Where?
That's where John gets the shop.
And it's just
He gets Betsy out.
Get under the bed, honey.
Well,
Daddy's got to sort some
I tell
stuff.
you, they frightened the life out of me.
Kids are
But
scared.
kids can see things. It's just
I think it's just their imagination.
Yeah.
it obviously probably was, yeah. But it's like, it does make you think. I mean, what did she see then? Because you know that there's no one in the house.
She's probably dreaming, man, or something.
No, I was talking to her. It was daylight.
Daylight.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you need to get an exorcist or get some sort of poltergeist.
It was in the afternoon.
This house is clean.
There's no monsters under the bed.
I got a scary story to tell, but I don't know if it's
No, go for it.
So
It's horror
like
time.
I was really young, and obviously my parents were traveling at the time, and we were at a place, and I was young, I can't remember, and my mum, we were sleeping, my dad, my mum, and myself. My brothers weren't born, and then obviously
How old were you then?
must have been like 5 or 4,
Okay, yeah.
and
And you remember that?
because my mum told me that.
Oh,
it's
okay,
it's
okay.
one of the scary things. And I don't know if you know, like Asian ladies, they wear these things around. I know they do it now. People wear it now. It's fashionable. That little chain around their ankles, ankle bracelets.
Yeah.
It's like a thing. So it can make a specific sound. And every midnight, you can hear it. So imagine we're sleeping in this conservatory.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, studio.
Yes, how dare you?
Studio,
Yes.
sorry.
It's studio.
So you can hear that sound from that
yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
And then you can hear it come past the door, like it'll get louder, and then it goes, and then you can hear it around, and then it will come back again. And my mum was like, "What the fuck is that?" And obviously, my dad knows.
And where were you?
We were in
Auntie,
northern
it's Auntie sleepwalking.
northern part of Sri Lanka.
I was going to say, were you in Sri Lanka then? Oh, okay.
And obviously, my dad investigated, but she didn't tell my mum. But later, we found that there was a lady that died there, and apparently, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're actually bullshit,
no,
man.
I swear to you, and she tells me the story like every time, and then one of those stories like, shit.
Do you believe in stuff like that?
Yeah, I do.
You believe in ghosts and shit?
Yeah.
And you too?
That's why paranormal
Yeah,
scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
So-
I do. Yeah. I believe in more like a presence rather than an actual physical entity, shall we say? So
Yeah,
But that story you're describing is actually a section from my number 1 today.
Ooh.
Kind of.
honestly,
No,
this
I'm just
actually
saying, little.
Nice little spoiler there, John.
It's not an Indian lady with an ankle bracelet.
It's a
similar.
Bollywood film he's got.
I
It's
just
number
have
one.
to share that story. It's one of those stories that still now, even though my mum told me, I was still shit myself.
bloody hell.
Yeah,
Be one of those bedtime stories for Axia.
no, yeah, probably.
So we'll carry on with the questions. Right, let's go down to the different types of horror.
Oh yeah.
Which do you prefer? So you have your slasher horrors, you've got your gore horror, you've got torture porn, found footage horror. Guys, what's your favourite?
Sort of like a suspense thriller,
Yeah.
Okay.
psychological horror.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Same here.
I
I like them all. Don't get me wrong,
me too.
but I think the
Well, considering
There's
Saw
more
was
of-
your number one movie twist, that's quite a big torture porn sort of area.
I know,
there.
yeah, I like everything, but I would say if
I think I get more of a scare from
Yeah.
that type of a film.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think I just spot myself. It's more like paranormal sort of entities, devils, and
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I'm not a big fan. Like I don't I'll watch it, but I'm not a big fan of slashers and torture and like stuff
I don't
like.
mind them. I'll watch them.
I'm not
It's
like
at the end of
gore
the day,
and
it's a
stuff. They
horror
don't-
film, so I don't
The
mind.
gore stuff like Hostel, they don't really
Yeah.
like appeal to me. But I'll
No.
sit down and watch it. But it's not my thing. But more like
Yeah, yeah.
anything to do with, like entities, devils,
Yeah.
porn, not porn,
Horror porn.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, anything with ghosts and stuff like that, like it would. I would literally shit myself.
Yeah.
I guess it's anything that scares you, like
Exactly.
yeah. Paranormal stuff.
Yeah,
scares
like
me.
sci-fi horror would probably be my favourite
Yeah.
out of it because it just terrifies the shit out of me.
Yeah, because I mean,
Imagination that
Yeah.
can be used, and this is years in the future. Could be real at some point if you think about it. But
I mean,
Who knows?
because it's like slasher movies and gore fests. I mean, I don't mind watching them. It's at the end of the day, that's a horror film, but it doesn't scare me, if you know what I mean. But then, like you say, the psychological ones, they're the ones that they get under your skin. Them ones, you're really starting to think, what the fuck? And so that's what does it for me, really.
nice. So we'll come to the last question. back to what you were saying about your suspenseful thrillers, Dave. So would you consider certain thriller movies as horrors? For example, Silence of the Lambs, Seven,
Yes.
that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Explain.
Because because Silence of the Lambs was going to be an honourable mention, and I only left that one off because I didn't quite class it as a horror. But if you're going to be a good thriller or do something like that, you can take elements that make horror good and incorporate it into it. So Silence of the Lambs is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have strictly classed it as a horror, but it takes from it.
It's got
that
horror
elements.
to it.
It's got that sort of like the killer, hasn't it? It's got Buffalo Bill.
And some people think of Hannibal as a horror icon as well.
Is, yeah. Well, and I mean the delivery of that. He's got that, and he's got that presence that you want from the horror villain. So yes, you can have I think if you've got movies like that, so I think it's a good thing, because if you've got a movie like that, that might help draw people maybe towards more horror who traditionally haven't watched horror movies. So I think class things like that as or with strong horror elements, even if it is maybe a thriller, things like that, because you're exposing an audience that maybe only watched thrillers to some horror elements which they might enjoy, and then bring them into some of the more mainstream horror things.
Yeah, totally agree.
What about you guys?
No, I agree with what Dave's saying. I mean, like we say, taking the example of Silence of the Lambs, it has got horror elements in it, but it's not. I wouldn't necessarily. I was going to say I wouldn't necessarily say it's a horror film, but it has got that element in it, I suppose. So
he wears a guy's face.
It's like a soft horror in a sense. Yeah, I mean, like I say,
soft porn.
Why have you got porn on your head?
He said it.
He said torture porn, which is a completely different thing.
It got me psychologically. It's in my head now.
Liberties.
Don't start him off.
So going back to porn.
Go on. Yeah.
Go on then. Go on. I was going to say, I don't particularly. I was going to clash with what you're saying. I don't particularly think slasher horror should be horror. Like, I don't know. Stuff like without spoiling, like Halloween and Scream or anything like that. Like,
you don't class that as horror?
No, I think because
what the F?
Hear me out.
I think I can see where he's going to come from.
Because it's not like the scare factor is him in the background or something. I get that, but I don't think it's actually horrific. Like, as in, obviously people die, blah blah blah. But like, I think stuff like I think for me personally, I don't think that I will call as a horror. I'll say more of a thriller.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I would say it's a horror. I think it's down to personal taste, isn't it? So if somebody is terrified of being violently assaulted and stabbed and run through with things, that would probably be their sort of horror thing. They might not be affected by a slow tension build up or something like that. But
no, yeah, I don't know. I understand.
I think it goes back to the generation thing we were saying earlier, where because you're exposed to lots of violence in action movies or war films where you've got people with stuff blown off, you're maybe a bit more jaded to physical gore or violence, and it doesn't bother you as much.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right, yeah.
I think it's a taste thing, but you can't say Halloween's not a horror movie.
No, I'm just
saying. He's literally the boogeyman.
No, I get it. He's iconic. I get it. Yeah. But, like, the scare factor is basically him, like, in the background.
So you're saying it's not...
That's not...
You don't class as horror because you're not scared of it.
Yeah, obviously, when you first time you see it...
And this is coming from a man who's scared of a foot ankle bracelet.
Well, that was...
That was a ghost.
Again, like, so from that aspect, I'm more terrified of like ghostly and entities and stuff.
Sure.
So it's not gonna those kind of slasher horror is not gonna faze me as much.
Horror is a very general term.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming because
so
I'm vice versa. I don't care for ghosts and stuff. So but I'll still watch it. But it's not
nothing against that. But going back to your question, I think I personally wouldn't. Slasher horror wouldn't be like
right. But we're talking about thrillers, so that defeats the purpose.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood the question.
No. So the question's about movies like Seven and science stuff that is more based on reality.
Oh, sorry,
which is classed as a thriller. Would you consider them as horrors?
I guess so.
Like something like The Lighthouse. would you consider that as a horror movie?
No, that's more like psychological.
There we go. See,
Yeah, but it is.
but some people would class that as a horror movie.
Why? Well, no.
I think because
It's-
horror can be so much.
Yes, that's what
Exactly.
It's
I would say,
it's a very general term.
and that's a good thing about it.
Yeah.
Because you can say I'm a horror fan, and you can like for me, some of my movies will go down the suspense route because I want to be on the edge of my seat, waiting for that thing to happen that I know is going to happen. And then other times I might want to sit there and watch
the thriller
and
horror.
watch Saw, where it's like, no, my fingers, and you know,
Exactly.
buzzsaws and stuff like that.
Too late. It's the rules.
It's the rules.
But yeah, you know, there's a lot.
Go on.
there's a lot-
What's your favourite line from Lighthouse? Go on, say it.
Say it. You're fond of a lobster. Love that film.
It's such a cracking film.
Yeah, a lot better than I expected it to be. To be
Yeah,
honest.
totally. That's all I've got for questions. If not, does anyone else want to throw anything in?
Oh no, I asked my question.
It might not be in everyone's question. What is your most underrated horror film, if it's not in your top 5?
I think it's my number one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's like trying to pick. I mean, I had a hard enough job trying to pick 5 horror films that I would list as my top 5.
I think one that's underrated because it's technically not a horror film. So the last 10 minutes of the movie is Kill List.
Yeah,
That's quite a good horror film because it's essentially you think it's a gangster film through 3/4 of this movie, and then literally the last 10 minutes it snaps and changes. Fuck, this is a horror film at the end of the day, and not many people know of it or have watched it. You've only watched it because I've mentioned it to you. And you watched it here, and I think that's gone quite under the radar. Personally, it's a very good British horror film.
I reckon it's more of a cult following now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So for me, like before you guys,
I'm not.
I only stumbled upon because we watched it together. I think you recommended it to me, and then it was under the horror category, and I thought I'd mention it. It's actually Crawl.
Yeah,
Remember we watched that?
yeah.
Crawl.
Yeah, I really like that, man.
Crawl. Yeah, the alligator one.
Alligator one.
Yeah.
Crawl.
Crawl.
I thought you meant Crow, as in
No,
like
no,
the
no.
80s fantasy
No.
with the frisbee with daggers movie.
Because like I've been looking for it, and it's out on Blu-ray finally, and I was like, no one's talking about it. I really love that film, and
I liked
obviously me as well. I don't consider it horror because it was under the horror. It's not my list,
Yeah, horror thriller maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But that comes back to what I was
but
saying.
I thought
There's
it's
so
really
many-
underrated.
Horror has got it's a huge umbrella. There's so many different types of horror. You know.
Yeah, I love that film. It's probably like what's that word? I've got the word.
Underrated.
No, underrated. But it's one of your what's it for?
Guilty pleasure.
Yes. Sorry, guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, I really love that film.
What about you, John? Yours was your Dave. Yours
I would
was your
say
number one,
mine's
wasn't
probably
it?
number one. Yeah.
Okay, right. So we'll come to that.
I couldn't really list them. I had so many.
Something you watch and no one liked, and you thought it was really good, but everyone else hated it. That's
The
normally
Burning. Goes on about that fucking film.
What, The Burning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like The Burning. Yeah,
If you don't, it doesn't matter. I thought it was a throw.
but that was a proper horror film though. But
You won't like it, Big G. It's a slasher film.
Yeah, and I'm nothing against it, dude. I'm just saying.
No.
It's just like,
I'm
it's
just
not
saying. I'm
my-
just telling you what
films,
it is.
films like that.
I'm just telling you how it is.
Yeah. I Spit in Your Grave was another one, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, stuff like that. I mean,
That's not underrated though. Is
no, I mean, some of them are, but
I thought Jeepers Creepers was underrated.
yeah,
A lot of people.
Totally. Jeepers
That was
Creepers
underrated.
was so under the radar when that came out.
Even number 2 is good.
Number 2's
Yeah,
awesome.
number
It's a
2's
shame
sick.
about 3 though. 3 sucks balls,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, I love number 1.
number 2, 1 and 2 are fucking awesome, man. Right, so yeah, we'll go to the top 5s then.
It's time for a top 5. Number 5.
So yeah, so obviously I've already mentioned that my top 5 has been done. If anyone is ever interested in that top 5, go back to season 1, episode 19, which is the part 1 of favourite horror movies. So out of you 3 guys, who would like to go first?
I don't mind, but it's up to you guys.
How are we going to do it?
One of you go.
We have to go around in the
I'll
circle.
go.
So we'll go from Dave.
Yeah.
John's going to be last, or?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Go for it,
I
Dave.
doubt either of you are going to say my number 5 anyway. So.
Don't you
Come closer to the microphone.
Hello.
That's better.
My number 5 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that's why it's not underrated.
Yeah.
How
It's
can
not.
you-
It's not though.
I was going to say, how can you say that is
a classic, isn't it?
one of the iconic
The original.
horror I quite like the remake.
I love the remake. I think the remake's fucking awesome.
When I'm saying this one, I'm personally choosing the remake because that's the one I watched.
Same.
So the 2003 version's in the top is top 5, right? Okay.
Because that's the one I watched first.
Sure.
Right, okay.
Obviously, you know about Leatherface, but to sort of, and if you ask someone to think about a horror, you know, some iconic horror characters, Leatherface is up there.
Yeah, totally.
He is terrifying.
Yeah.
He's like a child trapped in this giant hillbilly body, and he literally is running around with a chainsaw. Just carving people up and hanging
What's
them in
not
the
more
bar.
terrifying than that? I mean,
And he wears his people's faces.
yeah.
Exactly.
But that's because his face is deformed, though, isn't it? That's why he does it. Yeah.
But even just for me, and you're outside, you're isolated, you're on the farm.
Yeah.
Is it Coldwind Farm or something? Anyway,
Yeah.
And you're out in the middle of
Nowhere.
There's no help.
yeah.
You're being chased by this guy with a chainsaw, and that sound, you know, of that running is the rusty chainsaw blade. And
He does.
He is a fan.
That was
And when
really
he gets hit there, he's like, woo!
And it's a fantastic horror film.
It is really good.
And
that was one of the films we watched.
and this is
the Halloween marathon around mine.
Yes.
and this is what I'm saying. Why it's so hard for me. It's number 5
Okay,
because there's other ones I like for different reasons, but he is again one of those iconic horror characters, and it's a terrifying thing. And there's just so many things about that movie. You know, like hiding under the table, and you've got the woman beheaded, hanging upside down like a piece of game that's been slaughtered.
Yeah.
And,
That was freaky.
You know, trying to work your way through this horrible farmhouse, which has got that, you know, sort of to escape and things like that. And just always knowing that any moment you're just going to hear.
But like, did it actually like terrify you, like scare you, like when you watched it?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, this guy.
Well, imagine
The
putting
original
yourself-
did for me.
Imagine putting yourself in that situation. He's wearing someone's face, man, and you know that soon. Because do you think you could get away from it, man?
Yeah, I can outpace him.
Yeah, well, he's going to be wearing your face next. He's got to have Big G's bearded face strapped over his disfigured hillbilly face. And then next person that ends up in there is going to be like
John.
John's going to be running on.
I'm trying to move house here.
Gal? Is that you? Anyway, love it.
He's got white
No,
arms
it's-
and a brown face.
Yeah.
Do you know? I remember because that was one of the first horror remakes that people were pissed off about because the original had only just not been banned, and your generation started to actually get to see the original, and to their shock, it was actually a damn good remake.
That is again like Dave. I knew about the old one, never got to watch it, but I got to watch the remake. But again, like I'm not trying to say like it didn't scare me. Like it was terrifying, but it was for me. It was
But
like,
I see what Dave's saying, because when I said about Alien, because spoiler, that was my number one on that episode. Put yourself in that position, and you would be terrified. I don't care who you are.
A knife. If someone tagged you with a knife and you're trying to run away, you could, if you angle your body just before the impact or whatever, you could run from that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You could even have a knife buried in your back, and you could still make a run for it. That guy fucking gets you with a chainsaw from behind, and your flesh starts tearing and snarling up.
You
in the
get
blades.
scared when I play as Leatherface in Dead by Daylight, and I'm chasing you.
yeah, but you don't say
And you're like, what? Because I'm going wee, wee, down the mic. And you're like, yeah, get away from me.
no, I get terrified when we do patrols, and you're like, imagine the aliens was there. I'll get shit scared.
Oh, we get to that long dark corridor. I'm like, oh, did you see that? Make like a xenomorph walk past or something, and he shits himself.
But, I mean, it's and the last thing I'm going to say about it is it's that horror classic staple of the monster,
Yes.
or the maniac that that is. So it's not like the suspense all comes from that person, that fear of getting away, and you got to have that in some horrors. You got to have a space for that.
Wasn't that one of those first films that says it kind of did the sort of based on a true story sort of thing?
Well, I don't know if it is definitely.
That's how. Yeah.
That's how it
I
started.
don't know if it's the first one, but it's been heavily influenced by a real.
I was about to say,
serial killer. Well, he wasn't a serial killer. I think he only killed about 2 people, but he's called Ed Gein.
Ed Gein, that's it.
Gein
Yeah.
In America, and his mother. So a lot of horror films. I'm deviating into actual like facts for you here, but I think a lot of horror films have taken inspiration from that real life guy.
Yeah.
Might have been in the 60s or something. He was, when he was arrested, he was mentally incompetent or something.
Yeah.
His mother had died, and he kept her in her room and left it, a la Psycho.
Yes, yeah.
And then you've got the chainsaw thing, because he was going and robbing bodies from a graveyard and then turning their skin into lamps and things like that.
Fucking hell.
Which is actually at the beginning of the original.
Oh,
It literally turns someone like into a lamppost.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And also you can see that in Buffalo Bill.
Yeah,
Yes,
Red Dragon.
right, yeah.
Done it in Red Dragon.
Yeah.
hasn't he?
So it's and that's a real guy.
Yeah.
So that fear for me, he's not a supernatural being as such. He's not imbued by the devil or a demon.
He's not
or
the
something
boogeyman
like
or
that.
anything like that, yeah.
He's not.
Imagine a
He's not going to
person.
come out of a mirror and get you, or come out of a TV and get you. He is just a normal guy through circumstances and whatever, and
Fucked up
disfigurement,
family.
fucked up family, abuse, whatever, has turned into that. And you can't say that's not going to happen,
Yeah,
because
no.
that guy
It's real.
is well, a guy that was sort of taking inspiration from was real.
Fair enough. Right.
So you were talking about the noise of the chainsaw sort of freaks you out.
Yeah.
So it's obviously in the remake as well as the original. But do you remember the parts where they take a photo and it does that?
Oh, yeah.
That creeps me out. That sound. Like, to this day, I can't listen to that sound in a dark corridor.
Because they're trying to use it to light up, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Using
Just-
the old flash of a camera.
That's
the
it,
battery
yeah, that's what it is,
the
isn't it?
bulb recharging or something, isn't it?
That's so
But
chilling.
I think, again, and
Have you ever seen the original?
No.
Oh, you should
No.
watch
Go-
it, man.
we'll go and watch it
It
then,
is
yeah.
good.
What's
the
more
original.
scary though?
I think the original is, personally,
Really?
because there are moments when, if you watch it for the first time, it feels like a real film. It feels like it's happening real up until a certain point where they
like
start
a-
using camera angles and stuff.
live action
It
sort of.
feels like it's sort of like a documentary
Okay.
sort of style film. And then obviously when it gets to a certain point, you're like, oh, it's just a movie. Oh, thank God. But it's still a bit terrifying for like something
might
that's
need to
nearly
check it
50
out.
years old at the end of the day, you know? But obviously Dave's remake is...
No, I like, because that was my entry into
Yeah,
it.
exactly, yeah.
For me personally, I like both.
Yeah,
But I think
absolutely,
I
yeah.
would- If you had to say which one is it on your top 5, personally, it would be the
It'd be
newer
that,
one,
obviously, yeah.
because it's a really good remake in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and I'm going to talk about sounds and things a lot when I'm talking about other movies, because when you've got good horrors,
Yeah.
that sound
Oh, yeah.
is a really visceral thing, and it can stay with you, like Ant said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, that sound of a chainsaw starting up, or the sound that a killer makes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak about it and sometimes the absence of sound can be really powerful in horror movies.
Yeah, true.
Because that lets you fill in what's missing. So sound, and if it's done well, like Ant says, that can be something that sticks with you. And my brother-in-law, I can't talk about it because it's one of my movies. I'll come to it in a minute.
We'll come to it later.
I'll come to it in a
We'll
minute.
come to it later. G, your next number, your number 5?
All right, my number 5. Okay, this is more like a guilty pleasure, and
Is it porn?
no. It's something. It's a film that's very dear to me, and it's one. I don't consider it. Well, it is, but it
Just say what it is.
Just say what it is, goddammit.
I'm building up.
It's a ghost story.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a. I would say it's a thriller horror comedy, and it's Tremors. Kevin Bacon.
Oh, okay.
I really love this film, and I think it's the setting, the whole the whole idea of it, like these things on these giant worms
Coming up from the ground.
Yeah. I watched it at a young age, but obviously when I went back to it, I just like I think it's probably one of the most rewatched horror films that I've ever
Yeah.
watched.
Do you know what? That movie used to be on like BBC or ITV,
Yeah. Every
like,
time I was like, yeah.
really late on a Saturday night,
Yeah.
like after Gladiators or something.
That's it, yeah. And that's how I watched it as well. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I don't know if you, like when you were young, I think, I don't know, after or before, I can't remember. We used to play this game where like don't touch the ground sort of thing. You got to climb.
Floor is lava.
Yeah,
Yeah.
similar.
Lava, yeah.
So it kind of reference from that, and it's it's the setting, the idea, and
It's a cracking film.
it's a
I really
wicked
enjoy
film.
that movie.
I think a lot of people don't give it that credit, but I really is up there. I know it's not scary as people think, but
It's so annoying though because they were going to do a TV series of it. Like
Apparently
Sci-Fi was
they
going to
did.
back. Yeah, no, they've done an episode because Kevin Bacon comes back for it.
oh, does it?
Yeah, because obviously, if you know Tremors as a movie franchise, they've done sequels. They're up to like number 6 now, but it went very Sharknado sort of era. So they thought, oh no, we'll do a TV series instead. And like I say, they got Kevin Bacon back. You can see a trailer for it on YouTube, but it got never released.
Oh man, that's
and
a
it's
shame.
gutting because it had. If you watch it, it's got some potential. Like it looks better than those sequels that we did for the movies.
The sequels were whack, man.
Number 2's not bad. If you ever watched number 2, number
Is
2
that the one where
good.
they start walking, or is it after?
They got the little baby ones that start walking.
Yeah.
They can only see heat.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That
Yeah.
one. But after that, it just went to Sharknado territory.
Yeah, I just love the idea that they're stuck on the roof and they're stuck in this desert and they can't go anywhere.
It's the fact that you can't touch ground. Yeah.
and the survival element. I love putting myself into that, but it's not essentially scary. But
Do you remember that part when they're stuck on the rock and they stay there overnight and they think he's gone,
Yeah, I
but
love
he's
it.
still there because he knows they're
That's
there?
it.
Fuck
Yeah.
that situation,
It's
man.
amazing, man. And a little trivia, like the creator, I think he's not the director, the creator, S.S. Wilson. Apparently, he came up with the idea when he was in the Navy, sitting on a rock, and he was like, "What if I couldn't get off this rock? I had to, have to stay here." And that's how he came up with the idea. Apparently,
All right.
What do they call him, though? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
They don't call him Tremors, do they? They call him something else. Begins with a G.
Oh no,
Graboids.
Typical American.
Graboids.
Graboids. Yeah.
That sounds like some sort of
And,
medication. for-
Doesn't it?
I know, the way they've the props, how they make it, it's actually tentacles come out.
Yeah,
of his
because
mouth. It looks
again,
amazing.
it's like Dave said, there's
Practical
no CGI
effects,
for it at
yeah.
the end of the day. Even like a lot of the sets are matte paintings in the background and how they shoot the actors in one angle, but then the other angle they've enlarged the set. And they use a puppet or miniaturize it. So they use a puppet for the worm, but it looks massive still. It's so clever how they do that.
How the people get sink into the sound because it's kind of sinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Because it's literally it's their water, isn't it? If
that's
you will.
They're basically swimming in the dirt, and then even as it goes, you can see like the sand moving and stuff. How do they do that? It's amazing.
This is sounding more and more like Dune.
Have you never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh,
Seen
okay.
it? Oh,
But I'm
dude.
going to watch it now.
It's a good
Yeah, you
fun.
should watch
It's
it.
a fun film.
But that's very similar to the sandworms in Dune, then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you can't touch the sand in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
vibration,
attach the
isn't it?
thumpers and June, don't they? Yeah. It's very much like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's my.
On the
I'm
watch
surprised
list
about
now.
that.
I love that film.
Mind you, we do quote that quite a bit at work, so it makes sense it's in your top 5 now.
Amazing film.
I made eggs. It was yesterday. They were over easy. The hell you did! Bologna and beans, it's your turn! Oh, good pick, sir. Good pick.
Thank you.
John, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is a Dracula film. I think it was the Gary Oldman one.
Oh, really?
1992.
Bram
I
Stoker's
think.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. I've always liked Dracula films.
Yeah.
But I think that's my favourite of all the Dracula movies.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Even the recent one was pretty
So,
good.
favourite Dracula movie or favourite vampire movie?
Favourite Dracula movie.
Okay. We'll let you off them.
Yeah.
Twilight's his favourite.
No. Because, I'm a sucker for Gary Oldman anyway. I like Gary Oldman's
Yeah, he's a
films,
phenomenal
you know what
actor.
I mean, Keanu Reeves is in it, but I personally don't.
Oh, his English accent in the movie.
Yeah.
I know where the bastard sleeps.
Yeah, no, it's pretty piss poor, to be honest. But yeah.
Anthony Hopkins, though, is Van
Yeah,
Helsing. That's fucking awesome. That's brilliant.
Yeah. But again, he's a very good actor anyway. But I just love a Dracula story, I mean, because Dracula isn't necessarily. It's like what we were saying earlier about horror films and horror having many branches. And Dracula, although first and foremost it is a horror film, it's a romantic horror.
It's a love story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was never really. That was the first time I think it was actually done properly as a proper horror, romantic horror type film. And I think that's probably why I like it so much, because having read the books of the original Bram Stoker, Dracula, and whatever, it was nice to actually see it done properly.
Yeah.
Because normally it was literally just a horror film, a vampire going around sucking people's blood and scaring people. But to actually see the actual story behind
Actually
it
shows the real side
Yeah.
to the story, not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the horror element of it, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Is
So
that why you like Blade so much?
yeah, I like Blade. Yeah.
no,
Blade's
just
not
saying,
romantic though.
No, I'm just saying. Just put,
What are you saying?
because he put that in the top 5. What's it called? List, didn't he? We were grilling him. I can't remember. We always.
Oh, yes, you're right. I can't remember what
yeah.
list that was for, though.
Yeah. But I do like. I like.
No,
I
it's
like,
a good film.
I like vampire movies, but it's like Ant said. There's a difference between a vampire movie and a Dracula movie. Obviously, it's a Dracula movie because Dracula's in it.
Have you seen it, Vicky?
No.
You'd like
What,
it. It's
you haven't
actually pretty
seen
good.
should see
Bram
it.
Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
No, that's
It's
what I'm saying.
Oh
Playing
man,
catch up.
you'd love it.
And it's and
really
and
good.
again, it's an iconic horror
Yeah.
story.
But yeah, it's the story of Dracula done properly, as far as I'm concerned.
And also, that's the origin of the sort of vampire, isn't it? It's gone off and done all sorts of different branches. You know,
Yeah.
Again, like it's like I'm not dissing anything. Like I've been around, and kind of the gist of it already, don't you? Like Dracula,
Yeah.
So like that's the vibe. Like so it's like if that's what I'm saying when I said earlier, where John is actually lucky to see it firsthand. Experience some of those films like that experience. You can be, oh wow, that's why it's in his top 5. Whereas me, I get it, like, I appreciate it, but I won't. Obviously, I won't regard it as highly as you would because
but you just said Tremors. You weren't even
because that's what I saw the first time. I've never seen anything
that movie
like that
was
before.
out the same era as
but
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
but
it's in your
didn't-
list.
No, that's what I'm trying to get. I've never seen anything like that. That's my
Right,
first
okay.
hand of that sort of particular like horror or
Yeah, but
Whereas
you need to
where I'm at now, I've seen so many Dracula, I haven't seen that, but I get the gist of it. Where it's not like, oh wow,
Because it's not like every other vampire film. Like they are very samey, but this one is done like shot very like artistically and stuff because it's done by the guy that did the Godfather trilogy.
oh really?
Francis Ford Coppola and
Coppola.
Apocalypse Now. And it's a very interesting take on it. Some of it isn't necessary the way it's shot, but the way it is done is really...
When did it come out?
92, 93.
I'll put it on my list. I'll check it out.
I've always got it if you ever want to borrow it. Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that. I knew you'd have a vampire film in there, but I didn't think that would be in there.
Yeah.
Because you never mention it, so I'm quite struck by it. But again, watch it for Gary Oldman. He's fucking awesome in that.
No, I'll definitely give it a
But there's a scene in that movie where he turns into a human bat.
Yes.
And that was all his idea.
Yeah,
It was like, I want to have elements of Dracula because Dracula can turn to mist, rats, and all that sort of stuff. And he says, when I want to be a bat, I don't want to have that corny cliche. When you have like a rubber bat in the background or something. He's like, I want to be a bat, and he's literally a human-sized bat. Seriously, and the way he delivers the lines,
quite
is
scary as well,
fucking
actually.
awesome, man. Yeah. There's like a part where he plays as the bat, and then he goes into the shadows. As soon as he turns to the shadows, he turns to these bunch of rats. Such a cool shot. And it's creepy because his eyes are red, and obviously when he goes in the dark, all you see is those eyes. It's like when we talk about it, and in the dark you only see the shape of his head. Just that.
It's like he's
creep you out, man. Just that one shot. Yeah.
What's it called? Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
1992. Yeah. Cool. It's like the women that he has like the orgy with.
Yes,
and you hear the voices, but they're on the ceiling.
It explains the brides a bit more as well. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a film I could never get tired of watching again. You know.
Oh, good choice.
I'd love to see it. I mean, I think there is a 4K. I think it's on.
It's
4K.
literally just come out in 4K.
So I will get that then. Yeah. Add it to the list. Yeah.
Right, we'll go to number 4 then.
Number 4.
So, Dave, we haven't had any clashes yet, sir.
No,
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Halloween.
The original one.
I haven't. So here's where it's bad. I haven't seen the original.
Okay, so which one are you going for?
The remake that was
2018.
quite recent, yeah.
Okay.
So again, like Big G saying, of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
A big part of the sort of horror sphere. You've seen him. You've seen masks for him in Halloween. When Halloween rolls around, you go into parties, things like that. And I think I went to watch it with. Did I see it with you, G? I think we saw it at the cinema when it came out, or it might have been me, Jay, and
I might. What film was it? Sorry,
Halloween 2018.
Might have been.
No,
Okay, it might have been.
not me.
It might have been Jay and the
Probably
J's.
do. The other Asians.
And and so I going into it kind of knowing it,
Right.
and kind of knowing it. But what I quite liked about that one is it's not really a remake, is it? It's a newer one because
Yeah, so they're essentially
Laurie
saying
is
that the
older,
others have
isn't
never
she?
happened. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's what they're trying to get. They're trying to say that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the original sequels never happened. This is the true sequel to the 1978 version.
But
So you've never seen that one?
No.
So So did it change your view of watching it, not knowing about the first one? Like, obviously, you said you knew about it, but you didn't know 100% going in, obviously, what's going on, surely.
No. So I didn't. But what I quite liked about it is the character of Michael, because that movie, there's that whole theme about the doctors, because he starts off in the in an asylum, like a insane asylum, and there is a fantastic shot in that or scene where the two sort of investigative pod journalists or whatever,
Yes, that's right, yeah.
who have got hold of his mask,
That's right,
managed to
yes.
get access to go and visit him. And I love that shot because it's in a big courtyard, and it's got this lovely black and white checked floor.
That's right, yeah.
And I think there's a shot
Like a chess sort of
like
piece.
a chessboard. And I think there's quite a low shot as they come in, and there's all these like lunatics and
the inmates.
inmates and criminally insane people, and they're all sort of chained into like a square. So there's a square marked out around them.
Yes, that's right. They can't actually
And
leave that.
they can't leave that square, and nobody, staff or is supposed to go into that square because then they'd be within their reach. And they're all sort of chained, hands together to the like a thing in the middle of this square, and they come up. The guy's like he comes up and he's got the mask, that iconic,
That's right.
sort of blank,
Takes the mask, yeah.
fake, Michael Myers mask.
You can feel it,
And
can't
he
you?
says, you can feel it, can't you? And the guy, you just see the back of his neck, don't you?
That's right.
And his hair. You never see his
Doesn't
face.
he sort of twitch? He sort of turns a little
Well,
bit.
he sort of there's a muscle twitch or something.
That's
there.
it, yeah.
But you don't see his face. And that whole scene for me made the movie so good because you can feel because isn't it the original actor?
Yes,
Michael Myers?
yeah.
And you can feel that sort of tension, and he's trying to get him to, because he's never spoken, he's never opened up to any
right.
psychologists or anything because people obviously want to, you've caught the monster in theory, you want to find out, you want to put some logic behind it, you want to put some reason. Was it because he was abused as a child? Was it because he's evil? Whatever. You want a backstory. And this is what this journalist is coming. He's trying to get in. He's trying to get some sort of response. You can like Ant said, you can feel it, can't you? You can feel it, and he just does nothing. But all around, all the other inmates are going nuts.
They're going, they're going
They are
fucking ape
going
shit.
mental with terror and fear. So for me, like Ant was saying, I don't know too much about his backstory or anything like that. I'm coming into it
But
fresh.
that gave you shivers, did it?
But in that, you're thinking, it immediately makes you think that this is something important. This is someone in sort of that if all the other nuts are
Scared of him, yeah.
are scared of him,
It sets the tone.
and that power, and then what's quite nice is you it carries on, and he sort of escapes, doesn't he? Or he gets sort of let out almost. Because it's the doctor.
Yeah, yes, yeah. We don't know that till later on. They do, yeah.
But he sort of escapes, and then he gets hold of the mask again, and there's some good brutal killings for your sort of violence and things like that. But and obviously then it goes to so I am going to go back and I'm going to watch them all through. It is on my list, but I haven't got round to it yet. Yep. And I don't know whether doing that, like you're saying, will change my opinion of this. But I'm viewing this, having just seen this one, and this is my entry into the character. But so you've got that opening scene, which is threatening. There's a fantastic scene at the end, without spoiling it too much, where he is standing in fire, if you remember.
Yes, yeah.
And he is just looking up. But the whole thing that makes him terrifying for me as a character is it's the monster, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So he's stalking on Halloween night. He's stalking through the houses, and he's going into people's houses while they're getting them making Halloween candy and things like that, and just brutally stabbing them,
watching them stalking.
And he stabs like a babysitter, doesn't he, and things like that. And
he's waited 40 years for this moment as well.
And
by
he's
the way,
busting out and he's stabbing, brutally stabbing. There's a fantastic thing that's almost like the director sort of like, deliberately try to screw with the audience because there's like a mum and she's got a baby in a cot. And then you see him outside the window and he walks in the back door and the mum walks off leaving the baby and he walks in and you're like, no, you can't have him stab a baby. And then he just looks down. You're like, they're gonna, and then he's like, he leaves it, doesn't he? He goes and stabs the mum to death, and you're like, oh, that was just that had nothing there. Just
if she hadn't walked in, she probably would have stabbed it. Yeah,
but it's just the director messing with you because he's like,
big time.
I'm gonna.
There was a lot of tension on that, but it was like, no.
So this one was Halloween what?
2018.
This is 2018 Halloween. So
it was Halloween 1, Halloween 2.
Right, so in the originals, there were 7.
There's loads of them.
There's 8 sequels.
Jeez.
Right. Okay. So this is essentially saying that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 never happened.
Oh,
They're saying that after that one up there, this is the true sequel to it.
Right, okay.
It was like Neil Blomkamp's Alien film they were going to make. So that was essentially going to be the movie. That was going to be the original Alien 3. They were going to say 3, 4, 5, never happened. And that's what this is doing. But I don't understand how that's the case, though, because, spoiler alert, at the end of the first one, he escapes.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying is like, when did he get caught? How long has he been in this place for? That's what I don't get.
What, don't people say number 2 is really good as well, though?
Number 2 is good.
So
but it changes the tone of Michael. So we were talking about it on the last episode, how he is essentially a child killer. He feeds on fear, but then when number 2 happened, he's now killing gay people and all that sort of stuff, and changes what he shouldn't be as a killer.
Oh, right, okay.
So
hence why this one.
So that's a slasher film, but with essentially any slashing in it, because you never see anyone die in that movie, which is weird. It's an 18 movie, but you never see blood or anything. But in number 2, he goes full on. Even though he's Michael Myers, he goes full Jason in this one. Like, starts stabbing people, blood's everywhere and whatnot, and essentially gets blown the fuck up. So there shouldn't even be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in theory. He got blown up. Michael Myers has been deader than he's ever been in the movie at the end of Halloween 2. So it doesn't make any sense. So that's why they're kind of gone, oh, hang on, we've clearly fucked up. Let's go back on the 40th anniversary of this movie and restart again. And that's where the 2018 one comes into it.
But, and one of the reasons I've put this so highly is because... and it's going back to what I was just saying about trying to find a reasoning behind it. And so you've got all these people who've been trying to like figure out why he does it, why he is Michael Myers, why that mask has so much power.
Why he never speaks as well.
Why he never speaks, because and it's what makes him terrifying to me is there is no logic, there is no explanation.
Yeah,
there is nothing. He is just described in the movie as pure evil, incarnate in form. He has not got an agenda. He's not collecting body or skin for a reason. He's not trauma, and they don't. And because at one point it's like, you killed your sister, didn't you? Was that why you liked it? Because you killed her when she was in the bath or something, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
And he just doesn't speak the whole time, which links into what I was saying about how important sound can be in things. Yeah. Because in a lot of horror franchises or movies, you can think of the sound or. You know, like I was saying with the chainsaw and his distinctive sort of, and things like that. He is silent.
Yeah,
there's nothing, and that to me
creates tension, doesn't it?
Is like he's that silent, unknowable unknown of evil that is just how you can't put anything on it.
That's it.
He's quite a blank face in the mask. There's no, Saw-esque spirals on the cheek or like a doll's mask or anything like that. He is just faceless evil. And that's why that makes it...
Like he says in the original, here's the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. The blackest eyes. I can't wait for the sequel. You going to go watch it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that is sequel to the 2018, is that...
So Halloween Kills is literally straight after this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is after the 2018 one.
Cool.
And then I think Halloween Ends is next year.
Oh, wow.
Because they shot them back to back and they were meant to be out last year, but obviously COVID and all. Good pick, sir.
Like I say, I'm picking for particular reasons, and that it's another iconic character.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that you haven't seen the sequels.
Well, I'm coming to it with a fresh opinion.
No, because when you watch it, you will see how they've taken this scene from that sequel, this scene from that sequel. So I kind of like how you've gone in blind and like really enjoyed it. You obviously enjoyed it enough to put in your top 5.
Sometimes that's quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because there are Easter eggs like, oh, that's from Halloween 3 and all that. And again, that sort of spoils the experience, doesn't it? Yeah. But damn good pick.
Good choice.
Halloween, Michael Myers.
What's yours then, sir?
Okay, so my one is like this is one I needed to put a zombie film in there, and I was torn between two, and I've gone with 28 days later.
Right, so this is my big thing about this fucking movie. They're not zombies. They are not zombies in this movie.
Essentially.
It's a disease. It's a virus. They are infected. Yeah. He even says in the movie, infected with what?
Yeah.
Rage.
Yeah, rage.
True. No, I agree. But
I see where you're coming at. They're not zombies though.
It's one of my honourable mentions.
Because it was going to be this or Train to Busan.
That's a zombie movie.
And
that's a zombie movie.
And I really, it's one of my favorites.
Can you swap last minute? Put that in, please. Because I hate when people say 28 Days Later is a zombie film.
But it is a wicked
irritates
film,
the fuck out of me so much.
Okay, so 28 Days Later is his horror film.
Okay, I'm going to put both of them fine, but I
put a split thing. This first time on M.T.V.B. Split.
All right, split. I think I've said it before. Train to Busan is one of the best zombie films, right? And I still think 28 Days was different from all.
It's a fantastic film, no doubt.
Yeah, like I know you're not classing it as a zombie film, but I think it's in a different direction. It's gone.
It has, it has the takings of a zombie film.
Yeah,
but they aren't. It's like World War Z. If you think about it, even though it's called World War Z, they're not. They're infected. It's an infection.
What I love about both these films is, and the one thing I love about Train to Busan is all not technically on the train, but it takes place on the train and they're trapped. I love the aspect of.
But are you officially putting that in as his?
No, he's taking two. He's taking two.
Yes, because it's my number 2.
Which one?
Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go in.
No,
as well.
you describe.
So yeah, and I think it's just just a fun it's a good zombie films. It's not essentially doesn't actually scare me, but it's just a fun ride, all of them, and the way Train to Busan. Have you seen it, Dave?
I'm sure we've discussed this before. It's on
I like the story and
it's so good, and the way it's the way the Koreans do it is the way that they twist their arms.
It's the sound.
It's so
Koreans can do zombie anything, like Kingdom, I'm Alive, anything to do with zombies. They are just the masters of them. I don't care what anyone says.
It's the sound.
I was going to say, can we just point out what the two of you are saying? It's the sound.
Yeah.
There you go. So you've remembered that. That's something that's really.
The sound is the key. Is key, but
you hear the joints and the bones cracking and
So they've got bitten, and the way they transform and stuff, it's just they twist and all this weirdness, and you're like, what the fuck? It's amazing. That's amazing. And
the businessman with all the money trying to buy his way.
But do you? I don't know if you remember. Did you ever see the Japanese The Rings?
Yeah,
the Ring movies.
I haven't
the way she twists and turns. I think that's like a homage to that, probably, if you will, because I always used to remember Samara doing that. Every time I see like a Korean zombie do that, I was like, oh, that's from The Ring or something. Yeah. So it's cool though. It's a nice little tribute.
I haven't seen the Ring ones. I want to, but I haven't been able to see the first one properly yet.
You should watch the American one. The American one's really good.
Well, are you sure?
Yeah, it is, honestly.
Okay. Then I might do that then.
It's one of those remakes I think is on par with the original.
I don't want to watch the second and third ones without seeing the first one properly first. So
yes, I mean,
I've always held off.
The first Japanese The Ring is very dated. It's like the original Grudge.
Yeah.
It's very it's like the effects and all that are just so outdated now. But when the Americans did The Ring, they did the sequel, which is terrible. So just watch the first one. The first one is damn good for a remake.
John, going back to Train to Busan, did you see the sequel? Obviously,
we watched it here.
Peninsula.
Did you see the prequel, the anime version of it as well?
Soul Station.
No, I've got it, but I haven't watched it.
It's done by the same director.
I know.
He did this one, and he also did Peninsula, and he did a couple.
I'd like to see Soul Station done, live action.
This is a pretty good anime. It's pretty good.
I've heard good stories about that.
He's got a new series coming out called. I can't remember. Sorry, 1 second, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it, but I haven't watched it.
He's looking for that.
Hellbound. Yeah, it's coming out this year on Netflix. It's meant to be good.
I'll watch that.
But it's good. The way I don't know, man. It's a fun joy sort of anime, zombie film. What's your take? It's your number 2. Why is it number 2?
Because I enjoyed it as when I first saw it, but having watched so much more Korean stuff since, I've said it before. No one does zombies better than the Koreans. So then I think back to Train to Busan, and I just think how much I really, really did enjoy that film. So, and there is, it's not. It's just,
it's weird because it's one of those films that, it's a zombie movie, but it has some slight comedy elements to it.
Yes.
But then there's moments where it's like, no, this shit is serious now.
Yeah.
You are trapped in this room
with
these bunch of zombies. Get the fuck out. Oh, wait, you can't. You're on a train.
Exactly.
So
a moving train
what,
as well.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But I think they do come out of the station, then they go back on the train.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I think the only
and it's the whole running zombie thing, which 28 days later kicked off.
Yeah.
But they ran because they weren't zombies. But after that, it spawned
the new
other movies with zombies in to run, and I think that's more terrifying than a walking zombie. Let's put it that way, because walking zombies, you go, all right, let's just go past you like that.
If you run,
something's running at you, man. Fuck that shit.
And it's got all these like you said, it's got that greedy businessman who's wanting after him. But it's essentially, basically, the story is the daughter. The father and son, father and daughter going to jumping on the train to go see his mum, divorced mum or something like that, and then everything kicks off. And within like half an hour or something, the train's
because they don't realise what the problem is at first. Do they?
And then slowly, they're tired. I think a clever thing is when it goes dark. No, when it's dark, they can't see or something. That's
through a tunnel, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Through a tunnel. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't remember it. I think when it goes dark, they're blind to something. There's a little twist on that, I'm sure it is.
I don't
remember.
The only annoying bit that I thought a bit.
Or are you thinking Snowpiercer?
No, I'm sure that remember when they go through the tunnel, they all go blind or something.
We all go blind in the tunnel. We can't see shit.
No, they get. I swear they weave past it. I can't remember. But anyway, the only annoying part of it is at the end where they kind of transform, not they pile on top of each other, and it just looks a bit weird. But
oh man, when they do that in Peninsula, it's like a proper Mad Max moment. It's fucking awesome, that bit. Probably the only bit of that movie, to be honest.
So yeah, you need to check it out, man.
So why 28 days later then?
28 days later, I just think it was just different. Obviously you have already mentioned is running. Already zombies freak me out as it is, but a running zombie and. Some of the shots in there is amazing, where they shut off the whole of London and him just going for it. I thought that was
that was one of the first zombie films where it felt a bit surreal. Shit, this is affecting
especially
the world.
Now, virus.
Sure,
and all that,
yeah.
There's sorry, Karen.
Go on.
I was going to say there's a fantastic shot in that 28 Days Later which really affected me. There's the Frank character, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. There's the Frank character who's got the body armor and he's sort of helping the main guy. And at one point, he looks up as they're outside, and a single drop of blood,
the father,
just drops down and lands in his eye.
That's it, yeah.
And then the other guy's like, "No, it's got him." And then you see that him transform.
It's just the way he says to his daughter, "Stay away," and it's seconds before it.
Drop of blood.
That's how powerful this disease is. It's crazy.
And that shot from above as that drop comes down as he's looking up.
Yeah.
Good shot.
I was in that cinema when he obviously nudges the dead body, doesn't he? And then when that drop goes, I was like, no! It's like it was falling on me.
Yeah. And then at the end, you think they kind of survive when they go to they meet the army men, and you're like, yeah, this is. But then it's all like they were a bit after the girl sort of thing. And
that was a good little twist.
I like that little twist. Two of the things I like about it is when he first encounters it in the church. Where the priest. That priest freaked me out, and then the guy. In that military base where they have one tied up, that black guy, the way he looked, I thought it was just fucking freaky.
Yeah, that part where he looks through the window and smashes it. It's just, but there were so many parts of that movie where it's so effective. Like the part when they're stuck in the tunnel and they have to fix the tire with all these things running at the same time. It's like, I can't change a tire for love nor money. How they did that quickly is so nail biting, and I just love some of the dialogue in it. He's like, "You see this? This is, do you know why this is idea? Because this is obviously a shitty idea." It's just like, I love that. And before Frank dies, when they get to that post and they're like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Yeah, we should go." She's like, "Yeah, we should." He goes, "Go fucking where?" I
think the whole setting of the film.
And do you know what really terrifies me? He's obviously he finds his parents' home at one point in that movie. And he settles there for the night. They say, "We'll go,"
We'll go.
And he literally lights a candle just to get a bottle of water out the fridge or something, whatever it is, and it just took that one infected person to see that light smash straight through the double glazing and just like, you know, attack him. It's terrifying,
and
man.
Those two
absolutely chilling.
His parents when they're dead as well. That was, But
just like some of the rules, she says, you know, never go out on your own unless you've got no choice, and number 2, never go out during nighttime unless you've got no choice. That's just terrifying. Just hearing that, do you know what I'm saying? It's a good choice.
Yeah,
but not a zombie movie.
I have to put it in there. If it's, okay, not a zombie film, but it's still
it is,
it's
damn
still a
good
good
movie.
horror film. Yeah, and I thanks for putting me. Like, I really wanted to put Train to Busan in, but I couldn't choose.
Don't blame me. You took his number 2.
Well, I don't know.
Don't worry about that.
But yeah, you need to watch Train to Busan.
I know you've told me this many times.
No, you
it's
need to.
on my
Everyone needs
list,
to watch
man.
it. Even the listeners watch it. It's so good.
And you need to watch Dracula.
It's on my list, John.
John, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Neil Marshall's. You know I'm going to say it, don't you?
Yeah, come on.
Say it.
Dog Soldiers.
Yes.
See, Neil.
That is a
Neil
blasphemy.
Marshall's The Descent was in my top 5. I really love his second film, but go Dog Soldiers, dude, go for it.
Man, I'm a massive fan. Again, I mean, I was trying to think why, because I took it out of the list 2 or 3 times today, and I replaced it with something else, and then I ended up putting it back in again because I really, really like it. And I don't know if it stems back to the original horror days where, I like vampires, and of course in here, like in Dog Soldiers, they're werewolves, so, is it Dracula, Wolfman, that sort of thing.
It's one of those horror films that is just so fun to watch. And I remember seeing the trailers for it. I went to see 13 Ghosts. I don't know if you've ever seen this in cinema. And then they put, I don't know do you remember the old Navy adverts they used to have? It would put you in situations like you've got a man down, you've got to go to such and such, and then at the end it says, what would you do in this situation? And they did that. They made a mockery of it with Dog Soldiers, and they're like, oh, because it's obviously army men, whatnot. They would take this clip, and then it's like, oh, you got a man down, you've got a shepherd dog looking after him. Like, what would you do if you didn't have supplies? And next minute, these fucking great big dogs come in and whatnot. They were just so good. And it looked so fun. It looked so stupid. I'm like, how has this got like a cinema release? This is something that looks like it should go straight to DVD. And when you watch it, it's one of those films I had so much fun in the cinema watching. I'm so glad I got to see it in the cinema.
It didn't do great, didn't do very well when it came out, but it's become like a cult classic since.
You say that, though. It took Attack of the Clones off the top spot. Took it off. And Attack of the Clones was number 1 for weeks, and then Dog Soldiers took it off.
The thing is, I watched it, and I highly, it was up there, but obviously I couldn't remember it, and I had to put it into my top 5. But I don't think there's a Blu-ray.
4K's coming soon.
You can get the Blu-ray, but you have to get an import, which is a bit of a nuisance. Yeah,
because I was trying to look for it, I couldn't find it.
Allegedly, the 4K is coming in October. Didn't say when. More likely the end of it.
Oh, nice. Send me a link.
Oh, I'll be all over that.
But what was the story now? Because
he's trained. The main guy is training for the SAS.
That's right,
isn't he? So he's on their escape and evasion weekend,
right?
Where he's trying to avoid crack team of SAS trainers who are trying to track him down. So he's doing he's already got nothing, isn't he? He's trying to survive, and his squad are trying to escape. And then they find out that the people that were supposed to be hunting him have been butchered.
Yeah,
and that there's something out there.
Yeah.
And they're trapped in that cabin or something.
Well, no, they're in the forest to start with.
Yeah, they work their way to it.
And then they get attacked in the forest by the werewolves. Yeah. And then they make their way to that house, which is very reminiscent of like Night of the Living Dead, isn't it? That sort of
I was gonna say it's very Night of the Living Dead
like a Last Stand,
Evil Dead
sort
of thing. Yeah.
And it's got Sean Pertwee in it.
Oh,
yes,
he is
by far the best in that movie.
It is a fantastic because I'm so glad John's put this on his list because I had completely forgotten about it.
Yeah,
this was one of my earliest.
Oh, was it really?
Well. I think
Good.
I think,
and again, it was
probably guessed I'd have it in there because
I had a feeling it'd be in the top 10. Yeah,
but it was one of the ones that I watched another one around the same friend's house at a sleepover.
Okay,
so again, it's got really good memories of it. Of that, but he's got a fantastic line in it.
He's got so many.
No, I know, but the bit that made us that we were like, that is so bad. When you're like 12 or whatever, you're like, this guy is so badass. He's got his guts ripped out. Do you remember? And he's in the bedroom upstairs. And he's like, oh, fuck, in that really good sort of English, gritty English soldier voice he does. Oh, Cooper, glue me up, Cooper. And his guts are hanging out. And he's lying on the thing, and he's like, you got to put me out,
knock me out,
knock me out. And he's like, hit me, and he punches him. He goes, is that all you've got, fucking gut? Then he whacks him again. He's got his guts hanging out, and he's like, is that all you fucking got?
Yeah, he's so badass in that film.
I do. I mean, I've seen it a couple of times.
One of my favourites is when he says, "Oh, well, if Little Red Riding decides to shut with a bazooka and a bad attitude, I expect you to chin the bitch." But he has this scene in the movie where they're all around the campfire. Do you remember? And it's essentially like the Indianapolis story from Jaws, but like from a marine side of it. And even that story he talks about where his mate triggered an anti-tank mine. Yeah. That's terrifying, man. Just like how his body blew up, but there's one bit of skin where he had a devil tattoo, never burned.
Never burned.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just like, it's crazy, man. He's got, like even the gut parts when his guts first come out, he's like, oh, I'm going to die.
And he's like, back in, stick him back in.
And he goes, they're not going to fucking fit.
He's so good at that. John, that is a bang-on pick, that is.
Good choice, man.
I'm so glad you reminded me of that.
It's such a well-made film, and there's so many great moments in that film.
It's been a long time.
I want to see it again now.
I do too.
Talking about it.
Now you've started speaking about it.
Just the whole werewolf aspect to it as well. Again, no CGI in it either. They were all men on stilts and all that sort to give the whole cool side, the height of it, whatnot. Just such a well-made film.
I can't remember how the werewolves look though. Were they like?
Oh man, they look.
You will when you see it.
Long-limbed and
yeah.
Oh man.
But there's a part where one of the Marines gets to the car, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's
like in a barn.
Oh, the Land Rover. Yeah,
and like he sits there and he's like, "You're behind me, aren't you?" And you don't even see what's behind you. You just see the moisture push forward, like when you're breathing out. Yeah. And that's just terrifying
because he's made it to the car in the barn, and he realizes one's sitting in the back seat.
Yeah. Oh shit!
And the way he just says, "You're behind me, aren't you?" Just like there's no.
And then you hear
there's no fear, there's no fear in his voice when he says it. Like in some horror films where they would literally scream the line because they're shit scared. He just puts his hands on the steering wheel and goes, "You're behind me, aren't you?"
And then the hands remain on the steering wheel. Just left clutching the steering wheel.
Yeah. You just you do this. Oh, yeah, man. You got.
Where are you? I'm in the karting.
Oh man,
such a great film.
Yeah. So do you think that like John was saying, is that more popular nowadays? Then?
It's cult. It's cult.
I think it got more noticed on the whole DVD thing.
Yeah. Do you think it's gone a bit more worldwide? Do you think it's crossed the pond to America?
I think they actually did make a sequel for it. It wasn't like a proper movie thing, but it's I think it was like one of those straight to DVD sort of movies. Yeah. But
like a lot of them do, they go straight to DVD or rather than
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad there isn't a UK Blu-ray for it, considering it was a British made film as well, or not. But we got the 4K coming out soon. I think you can actually get the 4K at the moment, like a German copy of it. Yeah,
and in Germany, it's £50 though.
It's worth it, man. Jesus
it
Christ.
Is, but as the 4K is coming out here soon anyway, I'm hanging on for that.
But I like the character of Cooper because when, like Dave said earlier on, Sean Pertwee was in it. I thought he was going to be the star. Yeah. But they make out Kevin McDonald. That's it. That's who he is. His character in that is just freaking awesome.
He's quite cool and calm in it, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's like he train to be like a Black Ops guy at the beginning, but fails. He wouldn't shoot the dog.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Well, that's when he gets captured, isn't it? Or is it?
So he gets captured. He gets captured, and then the other guy's like, here, if you want to pass this, shoot the dog. And he's like, I'm not going to do it.
He gets sent back to his unit, doesn't he? Because he wouldn't shoot the dog.
Yeah.
They're saying you haven't got it's kind of like they're saying like he hasn't got the killer instinct. And then later on in the film, then it's quite funny how he ends up in the unit and they are like being chased by the werewolves. So yeah.
And they're the team that die first. Yeah. So it was kind of pretty cool that he didn't get to do it.
They go off into the woods and they're literally, the idea is that they've got to survive in the woods. They're being hunted by an SAS team. Yeah. Yet they end up coming across the remains of the SAS team.
Where they've been camping.
I need to tell you a funny story quickly about this. So when this movie came out, I was at uni doing the filmmaking and stuff, right? And we were shooting I was doing a film noir as a project for one of my courses, and we had to shoot out in the park at sort of nighttime as it is now. And we'd done the shots and whatnot, and then my girlfriend at the time lost her car keys out on this field. So her and her friend have got like this little torch trying to find her car keys in the field. So me and my mate are far in the background, got the night vision on, and he goes, "Look at them. They're trying to find our tracks," and all that sort of stuff. And it's all this. It was all homage to dog soldiers, and they, they were chasing us, and it's so stupid. She found the keys in the end, obviously, but it was just how we're like, quick, get the camera. Let's do some shots from let's do some dog soldier stuff while they're looking for keys.
I love how gallant you were there, letting them go off and search for a key. Do
you know, it's like a needle on a haystack. It's pitch black at night. They've got this tiny torch which barely had any battery in it.
You've got a night vision camera, you just said.
I know, but and I was too busy
Don't tell them that.
because and I read a little like a mockery script which was called Bitch Troops. And we used that footage for it. Look at those bitches. They're trying to find our tracks. And Simon, if you're listening, you know what I mean when it comes to Bitch Troops.
And that's why she's now an ex.
Exactly, yeah. That's why she's a long-time ex.
Oh, my God.
Oh, so funny. Bitch Troops. Dog soldiers, Bitch Troops. It's not much anymore of a rip-off, is it? Come on. Oh, my God. So good choice, John. Anything else you want to say on that?
No.
Before I crack up. Let's go to number 3 then.
Number 3.
So, Dave, what's your number 3, sir?
You know what my number 3 is because you're sporting a very snazzy cardigan there.
Well, I won't say what cardigan it is until you say the film, obviously.
The film I have chosen for my number 3 is a classic, and it is The Shining.
Nice. Nice. It was actually the guy who did part 1 with me. It was his number 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was quite intrigued to think this might be your number 1 as well. When
it's not my number 1, but it again,
wicked film.
We're now in the top 5. In my top 5, they're quite interchangeable anyway.
Sure.
Because they're all pretty. There's not much between them, or it's just a particular thing that I liked over in one style that I like. But The Shining is a fantastic film, and the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so iconic, isn't it? Up in the
Absolutely,
wilderness, you have to drive up that little road in winter because he's Jack. Is it Jack?
Jack
Yep.
Nicholson,
Yeah, he's
Jack Torrance, isn't it?
Yeah, he's taking his family up to be caretakers for this giant sort of massive hotel in the wintertime when all the snow comes in. So you've already got that isolation as a big theme, isn't it? So that isolation. So and you see him winding up. There's a good shot of him winding up the little road in the trees towards it.
Yep.
You just see the headlights sort of coming up, and then
that's right.
Already the snowbanks are sort of high piled up against the doors and everything. And then obviously they're in there, and it's him just slowly descending into sort of madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just love that, and you know, the so many iconic parts from that film. And
yeah, I mean, from like even the way it's shot is iconic. I think it was one of the first films to use Steadicam, wasn't it? Probably, yeah. Which obviously is a camera that's built so it doesn't, like when you run with it, it doesn't look like it wobble or anything.
It's got a gimbal in it.
But doesn't it have like so many, not controversy, like some of the shots are like, what the hell, like some.
You're talking about the documentary,
but some of the things is like
there's theories, isn't there? Theories, yeah. Have you ever seen it? The Room 237, I think it's called.
No.
I think it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah,
dude, you have to see it. It goes in, it dives deep into that. Some of the things, theories are whack, but some of them are like, whoa, what the hell? Is that what's got Room
237?
Yeah,
which is the scary room in the movie.
Yeah.
So can I ask? When obviously my friend brought up as his number 1, I don't think it's a scary film. Does it scare you?
In a way, yes.
Okay. I mean,
so yeah. I mean, you might say more thriller, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, like I've said earlier, I think you can blend other categories into into horror. And for me, what is scary, and we have touched on this on other episodes about movies and things. I think we talked about it on the twists.
Okay.
And it's that psychological element.
Exactly.
So the horror for me comes from that sort of. I mean, you've got like the zombie woman in the bath, haven't you, and things like that.
Yes, zombie granny.
Yeah, the zombie granny, and the two little girls,
the twins,
and things like that, which are, you know,
come play with this gal.
Yeah, come play with us. But they're all like they're like women now, aren't they? That's so creepy. That's just a weird thing anyway. But and it's that sort of it's that feeling, the fear is not like a visceral fear, like something's coming to get me or something's about to jump out, but it's
no
that
jump scare or anything.
It's that isolation.
Yeah.
And you think he's not a good dad anyway at the start of it, but they're a family at the end of the day. And to have someone break in such a way, no work and no play,
makes Jack a dull boy.
and things like that. And he's getting more violent towards his wife and things like that, and and his child and things like that, and Danny, and and it's the fear for me, red ram. But the fear comes from it for me is it's that isolation, it's that oppression, it's that mental
stuck alone.
It draws you in, doesn't it? You kind of like feel.
Makes you wonder. We just had we just had isolation with your family. It makes you wonder.
You feel for the wife and the boy.
Oh yeah,
because like you say, as he descends into madness, he just gets worse and worse, and it does take a lot out on them.
My favourite bits are like obviously the shot with the kid, that sweeping shot sort of thing.
Yeah, where he's riding around the hallways.
Yeah, and obviously you got the iconic, here's Johnny sort of thing. But my favourite thing is where he's always typing away, and when you find out he's been typing all along was
because he's working on his work. He's working on his piece, isn't he?
I wasn't ever sure when I used to watch it if he was writing a book or. Was it memoirs or something?
It's a book, isn't it?
I couldn't remember.
At the beginning, he's a novelist, isn't he?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's what I always want to know. Was he typing it from the very beginning?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that's fascinating. That's stuff.
Well, when you get to the end of the film, that even mind boggles you even more. But we'll go to that in a second.
But it's that fear for me. It's like a sort of a more of a like a human terror that
sorry, grabbing my shining pillow
to cover your shining cardigan. But it's that terror that this could happen. Like and to break a family to where the father is literally chasing the mother and the child
with an axe.
And I like, and it's so. And it's atmosphere horror, I would say, for me.
Yes.
And suspense horror. So, like I say, for me, if a film has drawn me in, it's put me in that place. So as I'm watching that, you almost feel like you're in that grand place.
Yeah.
So it's a grand building. It's a place where parties. You see the pictures of people having parties on the wall. You've got the big dance room and the massive kitchens and things, and all the hotel rooms. So it's a place of happiness, but it's not. It's twisted. It's a place of isolation. You're snowed in. You're blocked.
I love when films put you in that situation. I love like some of the, Tremors and a couple of other suggestions I'm going to say is that isolation puts you in that position and there's nothing there. And that's a fear in itself. Like you can't run to help. Yeah. Like there's the nearest town is probably 100 or 50, 500 kilometers away or something.
I can't remember his name, but the chap that drives up, the only one who actually dies in the film.
Yeah, only one death in the movie.
Yeah. He comes to.
I know you're on about. It's a caretaker, isn't it? Yeah.
He's been called by Danny's shining abilities, hasn't he? To come.
Shinin.
Yeah, Shinin to come and rescue them, and he just gets blatted with an axe as he walks in, does he? But like I say, it's that.
I never saw that coming though when that happened.
No, I know. But it's that suspense thing, and then you've got that emptiness, but that entrapment, that claustrophobia. But you're in a big building that's you're wandering around these halls, which are sort of twisted to a distorted mirror of what they should be, kind of thing. And then you've got the fantastic scenes where he goes to the bar,
the Golden Lounge or something,
and he starts seeing that everyone partying. He starts filling it up, and that's his madness.
Yeah,
and it's that
the barman
starts.
Lloyd or something, isn't it?
At the end, he's in the picture, no?
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Sorry. What's that about?
That's what I'm saying.
Was he there all this time, or was he become one of those?
Again, there's way too many fan theories to justify that ending. Did you ever see the director's cut for it?
I can't remember. I don't know which version I've watched.
There's literally two scenes of it that are added in this director's cut, which is
which
one.
Which ones are those then?
So one is at the very beginning where Danny gets to see a therapist, and he talks about the character Tony. He's talking about
that's the one I've seen. Yeah,
and then the very end where Wendy's trying to escape from Jack, she runs into, like you said, the reception.
Yeah,
and there's skeletons everywhere. And it's literally all the dead bodies, and they're all still in that 1930s sort of dress as well, whatnot.
That then. I don't know.
It's a very that shot's literally 20 seconds, if that. But it just I was just like, I remember because we went to the cinema to see The Shining, obviously, and they never mentioned it was a director's cut. And me and my friend were watching there. I was like,
Don't remember seeing that bit.
when did that happen? So I don't remember that. Yeah. But yeah, very cool shot. But then going back to the painting, it's just make what you will of it, I guess, isn't it?
I think
It's a photograph.
it's, like I said earlier, that not just that. There's other things in the film. Like if you watch the documentary, there's so many. There's so many in there, and
They are a bit far fetched, though. In all fairness,
some of them are. But some of them are like, oh, okay.
but some of them make a sense. Like, oh, that room has a window there, and you can see outside. But then when you go walk out and turn around, that mirror faces the cupboard there, so it doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah, I get what you're on about, but. But you know the whole theory with Apollo 11, all that, like Stanley Kubrick supposedly filmed. So there's elements of that where people look at that and go, "Oh, that's in The Shining as well."
I have heard
Stuff
that.
like that. Wasn't there a sequel?
Yes,
recently?
yeah.
Was that
Dr. Sleep, yeah.
Was it good?
That was very good.
It's actually really true to the book.
Yeah.
But
Really?
Yeah, it really
Is
is.
it worth a watch? Because I haven't seen it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, totally.
I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
because
we
I really
saw it
like
together.
I really like The Shining, and obviously not sure what the Doctor Sleep was going to involve, but it sort of does something new, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this is again an honourable mention because it sort of does something completely different, and it explores like The Shining itself as what
Does
that
it
is.
go back to the hotel? Or is
No.
it-
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But it's more about the ability.
But not till the very end, though.
Yeah, but that in itself, when he goes back there, is a great callback and fan
absolutely.
service.
Even Ready Player One does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And they
Where
really go
the
do
old
the Shining
granny's
that.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and again, you have the bar scene, but it's a bit different. And I'm not going to say it because I want G to watch it.
Watch it, yeah.
But it's a very good watch, and it pays good service to the fans of the original. But it does something different. It's a completely different style, isn't it?
Okay. I'll check it out.
I need to watch it again, actually.
But again,
And
like
it's done by the guy who did Haunting in Hill House
yes,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
and Midnight Mass.
Oh, okay.
I must admit, I'm enjoying that at the moment.
No spoilers.
yeah.
Not
Don't
spoiling
because
it.
I'm going to watch that at some point as well.
It's like I was saying to him last night. I mean, I'm not a very religious person, but there's like religious tunes playing in it.
And now that I know that's in your top 5, we've got to play the board game now.
Yeah.
The Shining.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a board game.
Yeah, he got it for me for my birthday.
Nice. Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah, no, that's a damn good pick.
Yeah.
It is and again, icon, and when
It
he's
is an
chasing
iconic
him,
film.
It's definitely in my top 10. But yeah, I do love that movie.
but it's not maybe what people would traditionally think of as a horror.
But yeah, that's what I was trying to get at with the whole
It's
scare
some-
factor.
yeah.
Some people would just see it as a thriller. Some people
You
are
know,
like,
it's-
only one person
yeah.
dies in it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Or
not horror.
there's not much gore, things like that.
Yeah.
I'd say it's still
Whatever,
psychological.
Yeah, but it's like I said earlier
But
as well.
for me,
there doesn't
like I
have
say,
to
it's
be.
more of an environmental. It's
Yeah.
it's that madness, and it's that could be you. What you know,
Yeah.
you could get pushed over the edge.
Well, it's true. Just someone living in
work and
isolation.
no play
That's what
makes
happens, isn't it?
G
Insane
a
on the
dull boy.
membrane. Good pick, guys. Good pick, sir.
Yes.
Good choice. Good choice.
It's my turn.
Here we go.
It's my turn.
Here we go.
Right, now
It's got ghosts in it,
Right, this
Here
film.
we go. Here we go.
It's,
Go on.
this is the one film that really terrified me. Like, and
Okay.
it came in like,
Well, it couldn't be because 2 and 1 haven't been happened yet.
This is your number 3, yeah.
yeah, it's one of the films where every time I watched it about 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Each time I watched it, I was still it's scary. But you might not think about it. I think so. So it's the Conjuring,
Oh,
Which
yeah,
one?
Yeah,
the first one,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's James
Wan,
Yeah,
yeah.
James Wan,
It's-
love
yeah,
James Wan.
again, all the practical effects on there, and it's I think like all the scares in this, it's like even the clap game, that alone was creepy, and the whole house itself was just fucked. And they obviously introduced Annabelle, and then that kicked off another.
Oh, it did, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can never remember if it was that or Insidious that did that. But it's
No, I
all
always
years.
thought it was number 2, but it was actually
It's the first one, yeah.
Yeah. It's
And-
because
It's basically about the two, what are they called? Paranormal investigators, and they get called to the house.
yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
they tried to debunk
the Warrens. Is
Yeah,
that
the Warrens,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they obviously they're
Which
like
is allegedly based on a true
yeah.
story.
They're
They're
lecturers.
real people, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They're lecturers, and obviously they debunk, not debunk. They solve these sort of mysteries, and obviously sometimes it's like simple things like the gas pipes leak, and that's what you're doing.
Because they have their own theories, don't they? So they're obviously trying to prove one way or the other whether these things actually are happening. Yeah.
And then they go to this house where like these people have moved in, I think a family of what, 6, like three kids or something. No, 5.
Yeah, there's a shitload of kids.
Yeah. And then the shit start happening, and some of the scares in that really like frightened me. Like, oh, wow. The scariest one was who's there? Because she's obviously gone down she falls down into the basement to find a basement, and then goes, who's there? And there's like, it's going to behind her, it's a pitch black, and all you hear is the hand comes from the back. Yeah. I was like, oh fuck! I'll get goosebumps.
There's a part where I sort of kind of get. I mean, I'm not very scared with these sort of films because it's ghosts and shit. But there's a part where the 2 little girls are in that room, and she hears something or she can smell something really bad.
And it's on top. There's that.
Yeah, but no, because she's like, she goes to the corner of the room and it's pitch black, and she says, "I can't see anything."
Yeah.
Turns and faces the other girl, and the girl in the bed goes, It's right behind you, and you're just thinking of there's something there. Your imagination runs super wild on that bit, and then obviously the dad comes in and spoils it, whatnot. And but I just love the fact how the other girl who had essentially had this thing next to her is not freaked out as much as the girl who's on the bed. Yeah. It was right there. It was right there.
There's another thing, same there, but with the cupboard.
Yeah, and then I know the part when it's on top of the cupboard.
Oh man, that again, like we go back to what.
That's what I love about James Wan. It's like there are parts where he can suspense you, just like the moments I mentioned, and then there's the next minute where he'll quick flash you, and you'll be like, "There it is, it's there."
That's all you need is like literally split second, pair of eyes in a corner, or maybe the tops of a hand, fingers on something. You just glimpses, and it scares the shit out of you.
That's a little bit of it. Like, it doesn't need to show the whole thing. It's just, oh man, that bit was
I should have put them in my top 5.
And I think he has throughout all his films, he's got that sort of scare factor. Well, like Sinister does it well, where that the red sort of face demon that pops.
Everyone like proper raves about that film. I don't really see. Was it really? I don't really see the gist of it, to be honest.
Like, I think it's underrated for me. I think it's really good. Obviously, the later ones aren't great. Sinister, but then, going back to Sinister, the bit where he does, the devil, the red faced devil, just slides, she can see it, but no one else can see it. And that
red faced devil, that's Insidious.
No, Sinister. There's a
not Sinister. Sorry, Insidious. I'm talking about.
Yeah, Insidious is Darth Maul.
Yeah.
There is something. There is some creature though in Sinister.
Yes, but I was like red faced. I swear that's Insidious.
I meant Insidious. I'm sorry. I'll jump the gun.
Talk about The Conjuring here.
Yeah, no, he's done by the same director. I'm just saying he has. He's.
Yeah, but there's a lot of films in that, all the Conjurings, the Annabelles, the Nun. Insidious, it's the same. It's meant to be the same.
What bugs me about the Insidious franchise is at the very end of the second one, they mentioned that he's going to come back. That demon with the red face never does afterwards. Number 3, they go backwards. Then the number 5 or 4, whatever, they go forwards again. Don't bring it back. And it's like, come on, what's all that hype, man? You don't even bring it back.
Waiting for that.
Yeah, sure. I guess
it's coming.
It's coming.
But yeah, back to Conjuring. Yeah, it's. It's a super freaky film, and it's one of the ones, even the later films that really, really scared me. Like when I was a lot older, so I think it came out 2013.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I watch it, I still shit my pants, even though I look like pretend. But yeah,
I love that saying "shit my pants." It always reminds me of a film called Enemy at the Gates. It's a war film that's got Bob Hoskins in it. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
He's like a Russian leader, and he's like, "I want my men to have courage. I want them to stop shitting their pants." Oh, that's amazing, Bob Hoskins. John, number 3. What's your number 3, sir?
It's number 3's taken, isn't it?
No, that's number 2.
Oh, sorry.
Number 2.
Sorry. My number 3 is. It was 1982. I was waiting for you to say that. I was waiting for it. You
don't look at me. It's your list. You say what it is.
The Thing.
Nice.
My number 3.
Love it. I think it was my number 2.
It's in up and down the list and out of the list and back in the list and fuck me.
Has to be in there. I fucking love that film.
Yeah. What's there to say, really?
It's a classic.
Yeah, exactly. Really, 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 really enjoyed that film. No matter how many times I see it.
But why is it in there?
I think it's a bit like what you were saying about
The Shining.
The Shining. It's like they're in the middle of nowhere. These, the guys. So it's like, who's going to save them in a sense, you know? Plus, there's like, you know, the creature can become anything. So then you're looking at everyone on the screen thinking, is it him? Is it him? You know? So.
Oh, sorry, what was this?
The Thing.
Oh, damn it, you loser. That's my number one.
I was it.
Playback, sorry.
What were you doing this last minute?
No, I was just,
Exactly.
no.
And of course, like, again, like you say, there's there's the fan theories. You know, was he infected all along, and all those sorts of things. So,
It's one of those ones you can go back and watch it and try and solve it, and try and suss it out.
And no matter how many times, I just think, I don't think how many times you watch it, you still couldn't, you know, guess anything. I mean, because there's so many. It's like you were saying about, you know, The Shining and that. There's so many fan theories, and it's where do the fan theories and actual thing. So I do like that film. It's really, really good film.
It's one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh yeah, and mine. Yeah,
Why is it your number one, sir?
It's like I watched it. I think
Recently, it was only a couple of years ago.
No, I didn't say recently. I watched it when I was probably about maybe early 2000s. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. But I not knowing this was huge at the time already. Like I just randomly come across it and I bought the DVD and I still have the DVD. And what I love about
what?
The DVD.
What's a DVD?
What's a DVD?
So you threw me off now.
Yeah, but you see, I like.
So you've got the DVD. Carry on.
Try
and upgrade, mate, if you can. Come on.
Oh, I haven't got the 4K. I said I still got the DVD. Jeez. And you completely throw me off.
It's one of the few.
It's
films
one of your favourite films. Yeah. Why is it one of your favourite films?
It's the whole setting. I love, even if what I said about Tremors, they're just completely isolated. The snow, and where is it? Antarctica.
Yeah.
There's if shit goes wrong, no one's coming to help. You're fucked, know, and shit goes wrong.
But this is I love the prequel, and not a lot of people like that. And I just you have to see. Obviously, because the original film came out in 1982, so you will have seen that one first, and then the second one, in a sense, was done in 2011. But really, and truly,
technically, if you're going technical, the original came out in 1952. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
52. Yeah. So, but you have to. I mean, you have to see the 2011 film.
That's underrated.
First, it is underrated,
Very.
And a lot of people go, no, you can't.
Yeah, but the confusion was people thought it was a remake. That was the confusion, wasn't it?
Because the way the 1982 film opens with the dog running, and then they're trying to because they it's like they do
the soundtrack.
And they don't know why the helicopter's chasing the dog.
Right. Let me tell you something. Right. So when you watch that film again, right, and the guy gets out, the Norwegian gunner tries to shoot the dog, right?
Yeah.
But he throws a grenade and accidentally blows the thing up, right?
Yeah.
So when he gets up and he talks in Norwegian, he actually says in Norwegian what it is. So if you could actually speak Norwegian, you would have known the whole thing.
Told me this.
You would have, And I love that because people always went back to it oh, the fucking thing's given away now. Only if you can speak Norwegian, of course. But
and it's one of the ones where Ant quotes it a lot, like at work. It's so fun. But anyway, the reason why I love it is the fact that even us four, one of us is an alien. But we don't know, that element is so good, and
it's terrifying if you think about it.
It's one of the best. It's just hiding amongst ourselves.
It's like John said, this thing can turn into anything by a simple touch of someone. If you think about it, it's not really an alien; it's a virus, and that's what I just think is so terrifying about it. It's just how it can hide in the shadows and when you're put into a dark corner on your own at one point, it can take you then, and no one would know about it.
And I just love the fact that quite early on in the film, it kills off the dogs.
Yes,
because it knows that the dogs will spot it.
You know
what I mean? So it's quite clever how it's done that.
And I think a lot of people would say as well, some of the way it deforms and all the oh man,
still stand the test of time even in 4K. Those effects, those practical effects are amazing.
I mean, that head with the flipping spider legs. Oh Jesus!
So
just all of it. Even I remember the first time when the chest opens of the massive mouth and whatnot. Just
so good,
terrifying, man.
And he loses his hands.
Yeah.
It is easily my number one film of all time. Like, the thing is, like, I had to text Sam. So it is horror, but I messaged you last night. It's like, did I?
So I said it was in mine. It was in my top 5.
But I
think it was in all of ours when we did part 1. Because it's such an iconic film. It's an iconic piece of horror.
And you know what? I hope they don't do a remake. I think they just leave it.
They are doing it. They
are they? Oh,
yeah, Blumhouse has got hold of it, hasn't they?
Just leave it, man. I'm happy how it is.
But then
I can go back to it time and time again.
The thing is, when people do when they do remakes, it depends on who's doing the remake. It's like Blumhouse have got a very, very good track record. So to find out that Blumhouse are involved in a remake of a film, I am less worried about them making a good job of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can't mention it. I'll tell you.
There is also
there's a certain film being remade that I would have just literally, but now I
mean, I'll still go see it regardless. It's another Thing movie. At the end of the day, I was like, that's what I want at the end of the day. Yeah.
And also I got to touch up on that element of like that someone has a thing into it. It's kind of got us playing board games. It started off with that outpost. Yeah.
It's an element that we friggin' enjoy to this day, and got us into board games.
So it's just so cool, man. Just, if whoever's listening, if you haven't seen it,
and the score as well. I love how different and terrifying it can be at some points. I mean,
and it's kind of simple soundtrack as well.
That's what I'm saying. At moments, it's just the same. Like Big G was doing the boom, 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 boom. But if you listen to the parts where they're doing the autopsies, or they're doing parts where the transformation kicks in, and it is this horrifying, terrifying score of just a simple tone from a violin, and it's genius. And this is coming from a man who composed Western films and did a sci-fi horror for the first time, and it's genius. And it's even used in Hateful Eight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because it's the same man.
Where the cart comes in. Yeah, I thought that was really wicked.
So again,
that's wicked. Yeah, because it's the same composer, and he put that into the film.
What's his name?
In Ennio Morricone.
Yes, that's Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, that was in Fistful of Dollars.
That's it. Yeah,
this
man who did that.
Fantastic composer.
Yeah, by far.
Just before we move on, can you do a quote for us, please?
I ain't been reach shit in 2 weeks, man. I doubt there's anybody alive on this entire continent, and you want me to reach somebody.
Well, but sitting in the chair. Go on, do the man in the chair.
Hey, Sweden.
I don't want to be tied to this fucking couch.
Hey, Sweden. I'm Norwegian, Jack.
Anybody out there? Hey, Sweden.
Hey, Sweden.
Swedish, mate, the Norwegian.
I got to say, like, Ant got me a gift for a while back. It's basically the Norwegian shirt. But if you look closely, it's got the alien head. So wherever I go...
And it says, hey, Sweden's at the top.
It says, at the top it says, hey, Sweden.
Yeah.
And then people are like, hey, that's not Sweden, that's Norwegian. No, it's...
What's your favourite line in the film?
It's the one you just said, I've tried the fucking chair.
Right, so mine's another line from the same character, right? And it's at the very end of the film where they go to the generator room.
Right.
And he says to McCready, generator's gone. And McCready's like, well, anyway, we can fix it. And the way he just turns and goes, it's gone, McCready.
Yeah.
Just like, it's funny, but it's terrifying at the same time.
Gone.
Just the fact that this massive generator has been...
blown up.
Not blown up, it's gone. It's been eaten or something. It's just, how big is this thing, you know?
Yeah. Did you talk about the ending already? Sorry.
No, we haven't, no.
Oh, then, and the massive cliffhanger as well.
That's what
Obviously, there's only two, McCready and what's the Charles, and obviously we were talking about all night one time if who's infected.
Got us for a night shift one night, didn't it?
Yeah, because
because he doesn't have any like.
And this is what I loved about you, because you'd seen the films, and then when you met me and we were talking about this, it made you go back and like rewatch some stuff. Like when we were talking about like the Prometheus series, and you were like, no way, and then you ended up buying it again. You ended up rewatching it and stuff.
Oh man,
the power of movie theories, eh?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So that was number 3 for John, but number 1 for Big Gal.
Yep. Thanks, John.
Right.
Sorry,
well,
mate.
you did take his number 2.
Yeah, but he took my number 1.
But you still might take his number 1. Right. Number 2.
Number 2.
Dave, what's your number 2, sir?
Well, after that, again, which I didn't think of to put in, I forgot. My number 2 is Hellraiser.
Oh, is that yours?
No.
I thought that would be in yours, and honesty,
No, it was one film I put in and took out, and
that movie terrifies me to this day, man.
That film.
I love Hellraiser.
yeah.
When did what
There's
age
the
did you watch
music in that
that?
film, man.
What age
Jesus.
did you watch that?
Really recently.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
same. I watched a couple of years. You
Not last year before, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I again, it was one that I'd known of for a long time
Yeah.
because it's an iconic horror character.
By far.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know anything about what was going to happen. I knew they were sort of demons or
Cenobites.
which I don't know what that means, whether that's a term from something.
It's a term for that creature, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but is it made up for
Yes,
Hellraiser?
yeah.
And so I went into it really open, and I just love it because you're expecting it to be all sort of expecting it to be one thing, maybe, you know, all about hell or maybe something like that. But then it's not. It's like a story
About pain, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's in someone's house in London or something, isn't it?
It's essentially a story about the two humans, isn't
Yeah,
it? Frank and
it's,
I can't remember her name. Julie, is it?
Yeah.
He goes and gets that artifact, right?
Well, it starts off and he's
At the
got
box, isn't it?
he's got the well, it's not called it yet, but the lament configuration,
yeah.
which is the
What be your pleasure, sir?
what is your and he gets it, and because he's a. And again, it's quite an interesting concept that I don't really think's been done elsewhere.
No,
he's like he's a true hedonist. Yeah. He's looking for pleasure or obscene pleasure and
Pleasure,
That's right, yeah.
pleasure
And-
through pain, really.
well, he doesn't know it's going to be that
Well,
painful, but I don't.
But
think.
he still does it
But,
afterwards.
but so he gets that, and then it shows him opening it up, doesn't it? And it has that lovely bit with all the chains coming and ripping him to pieces, which is a great sort of horror thing. But then the main story is is about Frank and
I can't remember.
sorry, not Frank.
Yes.
the father and his wife and his daughter, isn't it?
Christy is the daughter.
Christy, yeah.
Frank's the brother, but I can't remember. Is it Julie? Something like that. I can't remember now.
Get on Google.
Go on, Google it. While Dave explains.
The sort of she's obviously a stepmother now, isn't
That's
she?
it. She's the stepman. Yeah.
And they've sort of moved into an old house, haven't they? That's in the family, and it's all a bit decrepit. And when they go upstairs, they find out that Frank, this brother character, who's a bit of a, like a family sort of the black sheep of the family,
Yes.
has been squatting there. So they go upstairs and they find he's been living there, and she looks at these photos and it's her in it, isn't it? And
They used to have a thing or something, didn't
it's
they?
almost pornographic photos of her, and she sort of hides him. And then as they go up into the, they don't know where he is. They assume he's still alive. Yeah. And then
Larry is his brother.
Larry,
Larry.
Julia.
Yeah.
Julia. I knew it was. I knew it was Julie
I
or
thought
Julia.
you were right with Julie.
Yeah.
It was
And they
Julia.
go up into and he's cut his hand, and he comes running up into the attic, and the blood drops down into the floorboards.
Yeah, because at the beginning he's opened the box in that house, hasn't
in
he?
that attic,
in the attic,
in the attic, and then he's been sort of he's been destroyed and taken to hell by the Cenobites, and it begins the process of sort of
bringing him back,
bringing him back from a drop of his brother's blood, Larry's blood. And it's a great, fantastic horror thing. It's a practical effect because I think they've made this skeleton with all the organs and the skin and the
it comes
flesh,
slowly back,
and they've melted it and then played the footage backwards.
Yeah.
So
it looks like
That's
it's fixing
clever,
itself,
that
doesn't it?
like it's
amazing.
coming
bit
up
of
from
film.
like sludge, and it's a horribly visceral, creepy thing. And at one point, it looks like some weird spider because the two arms come out.
Yep,
first.
that's right.
And it's just like a malformed tiny rib cage, and then you start and then basically the rest of the story is it's like an abusive relationship between Frank and Julia, and he sort of is like a weird fleshless monstrosity
Yes.
hiding in the attic, and he's getting her to seduce men like businessmen and bring them back so that he can steal
Feed
their
on them,
blood
yeah.
and feed on them,
Yes, yeah.
and slowly sort of re-skin himself. And it's fantastic. And then obviously, so the Cenobites don't really play much of a thing throughout the main.
This is
thing.
how big the character is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Of Pinhead. It's like he's in the movie for less than 5 minutes, but it's so iconic, isn't it?
And
I know a lot of people find him. I find the other ones.
well,
creepy as fuck.
They've
They've all got something to bring to the table.
as a cast. as an ensemble, they are fantastically creepy as characters because they're all
Especially the
demons, aren't
engineer.
they?
Yeah.
They're all sort of demons from hell.
Yes.
Angels to some, demons
That's it, yeah.
to
To
others.
others, yeah.
And
I love that line.
yeah, it's a fantastic line. And so through the movie happening, was it Becca you said, or the daughter?
Kirsty.
Sorry. Kirsty, and they end up. She realizes that her dad's been killed, doesn't she?
Yes, yeah.
By Frank. He's
yeah.
finally got him. And he's wearing his skin again.
Yeah.
He's like inhabiting his skin, and they're gonna escape, and him and Julia are going to run off and continue their sort of.
Yeah, but although she was frightened at first,
she becomes fully involved.
Because she's so in love with him, she starts luring the men back to her flat, and he uses their bodies to bring himself back.
At some point, though, Kirsty figures out the box, doesn't she?
And
she makes a deal with the Cenobites to say, look, Frank's alive, he's escaped you, isn't it?
It's after he's sort of killed her father, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Because she thinks that is that the one where anyway, so she opens the box, or
she solves the puzzle
configuration, and summons the Cenobites, and they come for her. And just on a slight aside, that's a fantastic way that they sort of come, isn't it?
Yes,
because you've got
just that light coming through
there's like a bright bluish white light that comes up behind like the slat walling.
That's right. Yes,
where the plaster's all crumbled away from it, and you see it sort of like come up, and then they appear, don't they? Through the sides, and you've got that fantastic cast, and you're not really sure what they are.
This is
in the first one.
They're creatures of hell, and that's it. That's all you.
So you've got the main Pinhead character, who is a very striking and
He's
sticks in your mind. He's in a black thing. He's got his like slashes of skin cut out and
little
peeled back,
tools and stuff around him, and whatnot.
And obviously the pins driven into his sectioned into his head. Then you've got the other guy who's the sort of chatterer, his mouth's all pulled back, and he's going.
You got the big fat one with the glasses.
Who's and the woman with the throat pinned back and opened up, and they're such fantastic characters, because there's not anything I can think of off the top of my head that's sort of similar or
been done since
similar to that.
It's
sort
been
of
done
thing.
in manga, like Berserk is very revolves around like demons like that.
But it's
It's like but for the time in the 80s, you had.
No, but I'm saying, I think he's copied off that.
That's why this movie shines, because in the 80s, all you had was slasher films, and then when Hellraiser came, it's a totally different totally different. And that's why Stephen King always said that I've seen the future of horror,
and
it's Clive Barker.
This is the thing again. Like I watched it recently. I really wish I watched it when I was young. I think I would have shat my pants there and then. Like
I still do to this day, man. It's a chilling film.
It's some of the things are like it still holds up.
The issue,
but seeing it firsthand, it would just been like, oh my god, like this is fucking creepy as fuck.
It's like when the sequels come out, I was so looking forward to them as well. But the thing is, with the sequels, it's gratuitous violence. It's violence for the sake of violence, and the first one does it, within the tone of the story. Whereas they've gone, let's just take it up a notch because it's hell. I mean, let's start cutting up people.
The second one's quite interesting.
It has moments, but I just don't like the gore in that film.
I think at the time though, it was meant to shock you because it's like shock horror. So it's a case of like, we'll do the next one and we'll have even more killing in it. But they missed the point because it's like the story and. Like you say, Pinhead's not in the first one for very long, but but he scared you enough that you couldn't stop talking.
He lets you decide. You start thinking about all the horrors that they can do,
and you don't need all the
fact that the demise in that, the chains coming out, and
I love that
in your flesh and pulling you. What does Frank say when he's in Larry's body at the end, just when he's got his skin being pulled
Jesus wept. Which wasn't in the story, which wasn't in the script. It was just simply fuck you, go fuck yourself or something. And then the actor thought, nah, let's do something different, and we did that.
Which is kind of poking at religion again, isn't it?
But then again, but just Pinhead himself, when he's on camera in that first one, it's such a, I don't know what it is. He does it so well. Doug Bradley who plays him. Even the lines he delivers, like there's a part where Kirsty's crying. He's like, "Oh, no tears, child. It's a waste of good suffering." It's just that, even like, it's just, what can I? It gives you, like you said, that imagination that I can do something way more dangerous to you whilst you're crying.
But it's a weird sort of thing because we haven't sort of touched on the ending yet, and she summons them, doesn't she?
Yes.
So they come for her, expecting to torment and such suffering to show you and all that sort of stuff. And they're gonna. Such delights,
such delights, such pleasures.
Yeah, and they're expecting to take her back with them. And going back to sound, there's a lovely little sound of that spinning log with all the spikes. That's
right.
It's like the chains clinking as it spins round, and where there's like bits of people's faces on it. It's great. And she makes a deal with him. She says, "No, you've lost someone," and it's weird because these should be the villains. Like in every other horror movie, you're trying to get away from the villains. You're trying to destroy the villains. Almost in the first one, she's on their side, isn't she?
For a moment,
for a brief bit, because she's like, "Look, I can help you find him. I can tell you where he is. You've lost someone."
Frank's escaped you, isn't he?
And they're like, they're like, "Show us, take us to him or bring him to us," and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's weird. They're almost her saviors in that.
And then when they get to the house and she finds her dad's skin, I love the part where she turns and they just arrive.
Yeah.
And then he points down and goes, "We want the one who did this." It's just so good. And again, it's literally a 10-second shot, but just the way it's done, it's brilliant. It's just a shame. Like I said in the sequels, I think it lost its horror appeal. It just went straight to gore. Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, Hellraiser, the first one on my list.
Definitely
fantastic.
Yeah, I really thought that was going to be in yours.
No, it was very nearly.
I'm intrigued.
Very nearly.
Yeah, Dangle movie. Apart from would you remember when we watched it and the engineer part came?
Yeah.
And you could see the wheels behind it.
That's the one bit that it falls out a little bit in today watching it back because it's like a weird puppet, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. You can tell there's someone at the top doing that as well. But yeah, good choice, sir.
Good choice.
Your
number 2.
It's not taken. John's is taken. Right, okay.
So
you're number 2.
Yeah.
Right, this is one where Ant recommended to me.
Oh, okay.
And it's a Korean.
Of course it is.
Okay, yeah.
The Wailing.
The Wailing!
Yeah.
You would love this film, man, Dave. Have you seen it?
To me.
Yeah.
It's like the best Korean ghost story ever, isn't it?
It is. And I think, like, it tackles a lot of things, like, it's got stuff like shaman, family, and, like, there's a lot in it. It's slow pace, very slow pace. Basically, it follows a police officer who lives. It's in an area of very like in the mountains, like a
village in the mountains, isn't it?
And basically, a foreigner has come in. I think it's a Japanese man, and obviously, this tackles like a foreigner coming into their area and they're not liking it. And when he's turned up, stuff start happening, like people go missing and dead bodies show up and stuff.
Animals dying and stuff like that.
And there's an infection starts spreading and stuff. So it kind of leads, like, it starts off like an investigative story. Like you kind of follow that, follow this sort of the police officer as they turn up to like people's houses where people have got this infection, and what slowly happens is they get this infection and start killing people who are members of their family. And then it starts happening to the. Then they narrow it down, and they go to the Japanese man, and shit just starts going like south. Like it gets worse and worse.
It's so tough because you can't go too much into it.
You can't. I can't spoil it. There's twists and turns in this as well. Like
I might not have seen it then. I can't place it.
Have you not?
So
it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I will watch
it.
Then,
please watch it.
This is a movie for you.
I remember you saying, but I can't remember
Dave,
if I've actually watched it. This is for you.
I'll put it on my list.
100%. This is like one of the best Korean films, and it's one of my first early ones. I think I've mentioned it before, but you just have to watch it. Like the cinematography.
Cinematography.
The scenes are unbelievable. And I can't. There's so much I want to say, but it will kind of spoil.
Don't go too much into it.
But like I said, it does. Like I said, it tackles a lot of things. Like some of the things like the shaman. It's like their thing. I was looking into it. That's part of that culture. They actually just, shit goes on and they'll get the shaman in to like ward things off and stuff. Apparently, that's actually true. I was looking into it, and
well, a lot of cultures have had that sort
of. But I thought it was just for show because the way they do it is kind of comes off like funny.
Comes off like a joke.
Yeah.
Like it's done as a scheme. You're like a medium sort of thing. How I feel a presence in here.
Yeah.
Give me money and I'll tell you how much it's worth.
But it's got that like all Korean films got that dark humor, like in the beginning. Like
Well, this is the thing. When I watched it, so the main actor in it, if you're familiar with Korean actors, he is a comedic actor.
Yeah.
So when I found out he was in it, I thought this movie was going to be pants, to be honest, because this is no way his type of movie.
No.
And like you said, it completely changed my viewing of that actor.
Yeah.
And he nailed it out the park.
Don't get me wrong. Some of the scenes he does, it is quite funny. Like his reactions to it, like in the beginning, like he causes because he's there living with the.
But it's a reaction
mother.
you would do though, as well.
Like the bit where like he calls his his wife over into the car so he can bang her because obviously the house has got a mother-in-law and thing, and then the kid comes up and says, "What the fuck?" Like, it's all that reaction and shit. It's hilarious, but it's got this dark undertone and it's creepy as fuck. Like the last scene, like even me thinking about it gives me shivers. That scene, it's so like good. It's only like
I know what you're talking about. Even some of the jump scares in this are fucking awesome.
Like I said, it's a slow burn. Like just go with it. You'll immediately suck you in. And it's an amazing film. It's so good, and it's right up your alley. Trust me, it's just a film for you.
I'm going to go watch it.
And whoever's listening, go check it out. It's so good. I'm not doing it justice, explaining it well, but
this is the issue because
you can't.
The more you're going to go into, the more you're going to spoil it. But yeah, The Wailing, guys. If you watch it, it's on Amazon Prime right now for free. Or I say free, you pay for it, but give it a go. It's 100%. Awesome.
Yeah. That's my number 2.
So John's number 2 taken. So we're going to go to the number 1s.
It's number 1.
So Big Gal, yours is taken, isn't it? So
the thing, that's it, John.
So sit back and relax.
Yep.
Dave, what's your number 1, sir?
Okay, so my number 1, I don't know how well known it is, and I've chosen this one as a particular type of like suspense horror, just because I really liked it and it came out of nowhere for me. And
like Randy Orton.
And it is called The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ah, yes, I know, yeah.
I know of it,
yeah.
but I haven't seen it.
Have you guys all seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I know of it, yeah.
The Brian Cox film. Yes, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not going to be everyone sort of thing, because this is a horror that is like a build-up horror. It's a suspense horror. And that really works for me.
Definitely.
Like, that's why I put this so high. And I put it high because it came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
It was like a random, random Netflix film or something, wasn't it? Or...
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what it was on, but it came out of nowhere, and I really didn't know what. And I think I just got caught by the sort of the cover when I was flicking through on a streaming service, and I really enjoyed it. It really sort of drew me in, and the suspense build up on it is fantastic. So I'm gonna go through the story a little bit, even if you guys have seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It's not on there anymore, so he won't be able to watch it anyway. Okay. So,
but the premise is it follows a father and a son, and the father has his own like mortuary, so or like an undertaker's in America, and it's under the house kind of thing.
That's right, yeah.
His son has sort of knows his way around, sort of aiding him in doing autopsies and things like that. But he's going off and being like a teenager and doing his sort of things, and he's got his girlfriend, and they're about to go out to the cinema together. And the police chief suddenly bursts in, and from the beginning, there's the suspense is being built, and the scene is always sort of being set because there's a big storm brewing. Mm-hmm. And it's the weekend, and it's late at night already, and the police chief goes to the Brian's character, the father, who is the sort of pathologist or whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, "Look, you've got to help me out on this one, because I'm in a bit of a bind. There was a murder-suicide that we were called to, and where a husband has killed his wife or something and blown his head off with a shotgun, like blown his head off with a shotgun. So we've turned up with the police and, gone and done all our sort of thing. But while we're looking around in the basement, there's a body and nobody knows what this body is. And it looks like it's only just gone down there. So we need to find out who this is, what's going on, what's killed her, things like that. Can you help us out? It's the weekend, the police chief's breathing down my ass kind of thing. You know, I can't have another mystery on top. So the guy's like, yeah, okay. And he's like to his son, he's like, oh, well, I was going to take my girl out to the cinema. And he's like, okay, well, I'll help out. And so the two of them take the body down into the cellar, which is kitted out as a mortuary and a autopsy room and all that sort of stuff. And basically the rest of the movie is them trying to figure out who this person is, this Jane Doe, which is, I believe, is what the Americans label a female.
And the cause of death as well and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, cause of death, what killed her, why she's down there, because she doesn't fit the scene. It's a murder-suicide, and no one knows why she'd be down there. And like I'm saying, there's so many good shots in this, and tension building, and foreshadowing, and things like that. So
all within just this one room as well, isn't it?
So the whole film takes place pretty much in this basement. So right at the beginning, and this is going to link weirdly back to your anklet story early on. So right at the beginning, the girlfriend's quite interested in that morbidly curious way. She's like, oh,
she arrives later, doesn't she?
Yeah, but at the beginning she's there because they're about to go out.
Okay.
And she's sort of, he's trying to keep her away from that sort of side of the thing because he's a bit like, I don't want my girlfriend to know that we're weird Undertaker family. Yeah. And she's like interested. So she's like going down into there and she's like, he's like, do you want to see? And he shows the bodies and there's the guy who's shot his head off kind of thing and the woman with it. And as she's looking, under the feet are poking out from the sheet and there's like a little bell tied on the toe, right? So, and this isn't a main part to the plot. This is a fantastic little suspense builder because so she's like, why have you put a bell on that toe? And he goes into this whole explaining thing, which I think is true. So the whole idea was back, in sort of like the late 1800s or early 90s, when medical science wasn't competent. You did have horrible cases where people were pronounced dead alive, and put into like the mortuary freezers or whatever, and they woke up and were alive. So the idea was you'd put a bell on their toe because if they'd start coming round, you'd hear the ding-ling, ding-ling. And again, when I sat that, being a seasoned horror, I was like, oh, that is setting it up for later.
Yeah,
that is
exactly
going to come back. And it's not just a little factoid thrown in there. It's going to come back and, and sure
bite you in the ass.
Later on it does. So you've got that, and then later on, as they're doing the autopsy, like things start happening. So like the radio will click on, and it's like, and it's done as an aside. So it's like the radio will click on, and then the son's like, oh, I'll go and switch it off. But if you listen to what it's like a reporter talking about this big storm that's coming.
Yes,
and he's saying things like "get out, get home" when it clicks on. So it's almost like and then it goes on saying the storm's coming. You need to come home. You need to all go home and back. But if you think of it as foreshadowing, it's almost like warning you.
Yes,
it's building that tension. It's because it clicks on. It's almost like the radio's clicking on saying, "Leave this alone. Don't fucking do it and go home.
Just go home.
Go home. Everyone needs to get home." So there's all of this build up, and then there's some lovely shots, right? Which I'm sure.
I just wish they'd just pack up and go home.
Yeah. Well, then it would be a short movie, wouldn't it?
You wouldn't have the movie, would you?
But there's some fantastic shots as well that are designed to kick people like me in the ass, right? So she's on the table and her eyes are open and sort of like hazed by death, but she's not like gammy or gungy or anything. She looks pretty untouched and she's lying with her head on the block, and it keeps cutting back to this shot. I don't know if you remember, which is directly above her face.
Yeah. Yes.
But she is upside down on your screen.
Oh, okay.
And it keeps cutting to that shot and lingering on it of her face, and you're thinking, as someone who likes horrors, you're like, she's going to blink at some point.
Yeah.
and it makes you start putting your own fear into it. because everything's building up, and you're thinking, I'm waiting for her to fucking blink.
Yeah.
I'm
I
waiting
felt
for
the
her to
same.
fucking blink.
Yeah. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
It never happens. Just little spoiler. It never happens. She never does it, but you're waiting for that jump scare moment because, you know, a lazier director would have used that as a jump scare moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, suddenly moves when, you know, the face suddenly moves or she suddenly blinks or whatever. So you've got all of these elements building the tension, and then you go back to, but through it, the characters are doing the horror thing. They're not, they're really unaware of the situation they're into and why everything, you know, like stuff breaking and blood breaking in the fridge, I think, at one point, and stuff like that, and organs dissolving and things, and you're like, you need to be getting the fuck out.
Exactly.
Like,
They've obviously never watched a horror film
they're
themselves.
blindly
But
going away.
don't they get trapped there in the end?
Yeah, so they're doing the autopsy, and you have this, and you're learning with them. So it takes you along, it sucks you in, it takes you along through the story with them, because all these elements are suddenly coming up. Like they cut open the chest, and it shows you. So if you that sort of like body horror of some slicing in and peeling back the skin and the Y cut and things like that, and then when they're looking at like her internal organs, they're like horrifically scarred. There's like marks from her being stabbed repeatedly. Right. There's scarring. There's burn marks, which shouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
like someone who's had all that done to them.
But there's nothing on the outer skin.
There's nothing on the outside.
Wow, okay.
So on the inside, and then it's almost like there's something's written on her organ, isn't it? At one point, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember that part.
So there's some sort of runes or something are carved on her organs or burnt onto her organs on the inside. So there's all this going on.
Sounds very supernatural. Yeah.
It gets that way, and then shit kicks off, obviously, because I don't know if I really want to spoil it, but anyway,
Go on. I've seen.
Well,
it.
John's the only one who hasn't seen it, so
I mean,
I said it's left Netflix, so I
so
don't know if it'll be back anytime soon.
effectively, she so she was some form of witch or something like that.
Oh, right.
Or
sense
was
now.
killed as a witch,
Right.
because it's never her. It's there's this question raised at the end: was she actually a witch, or was it because they'd done that to her that it's because she doesn't really do anything, but then it all kicks off and the storm hits. They're trapped. You've got that isolation again, that no one can get to us kind of thing. They're in the basement,
It's good when they do that. Yeah.
and it all just goes mental.
Because that actual thing is in the base underground.
Yes,
isn't
it's
it?
they're
and then
underground. They have to go up a staircase and like a hatch at the top or something. And like I say, that bit comes back to kick you because the lights are out and he's in the corridor. There's like a creepy ass fucking corridor with a little mirror at the top corner, so you can see down before you go around the corner, and you just hear the little ding ding.
Oh shit!
Ding, and you know that is one of the bells on the corpses. One of them's got no fucking head, and the other one's a woman who's been stabbed or something, and they're walking down towards. And it's that sort of but it's a fantastic sort of suspense building.
Absolutely,
horror, which for me is my top sort of horror. Like, I like the slashers, I like your Saws and your gore films have their place and things like that.
Yeah,
but for
But
me,
this one that came out of nowhere,
this one
it's
gets
just
under my skin. The suspense and the
build-up,
foreshadowing and the build up as you're watching it.
Yeah. Good.
Really gets.
I think the ending delivers as well.
Yeah.
It was worth the build up, wasn't it? Definitely.
I swear it's a short film as well. It's not that long.
It's 86 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very long.
But
It's on Amazon, but you got to pay for it. £2.50.
Okay, I might do it then.
But it's a damn good suspense build up. You're so wound up by the time if you're drawn into it. But by this time stuff starts kicking off. Yeah. You're like there, and you're like.
I reckon the moment that police officer brings it in, and you're like, although this body was under, in the basement, like, you're like, whoa, what?
You know
that's when you're like, oh, what the hell? And then it's intriguing from there.
But could you leave that? It's a mystery, isn't it, as well? So you kind of almost think, I might even just stay, even though I should be getting out of here, because I need to know.
Yeah,
that's true.
I need to know what's going on, because this and like I say, it's a lovely way of delivering story. It's not like exposition where it's like, let's cut. Oh, something's wrong. This is what's happened. She has been done this, and this has been done to her. You learn little pieces. So as a story crafting, it's quite good because you learn with the characters, and it's all quite organically shown to you because you're learning as they are learning.
It keeps you involved with the film, doesn't it? Every time as it goes along, because some people would just be like, you know what, I'm bored of this now, but it hooks you in every time.
I think for some people who like their horror to be like a slasher horror, it's not going to be for them.
It'd be a slow burn for them, wouldn't it?
It's not maybe not their sort of thing, but for me, it gets you on that suspense and that sort of psychological.
Good.
Like
definitely.
Really. And that's why that one made it. And like I said, don't really know many other people that have watched it who aren't sort of big film buffs.
Yeah, I mean,
I always feel like I'm recommending it to people.
Good.
Yeah, because
I think
someone recommended it to me, and I told you to watch it, didn't I? Yeah.
I think it just came out of nowhere, and then
Like Randy Orton. Every time someone says that, I can't not bring Randy Orton in there.
no, it literally did. There wasn't an advertisement. I don't think it just went straight to Netflix, didn't it? I'm sure it did.
It's 5 years old, the film. I don't know if it was a Netflix film, but Netflix had it for a while. Yeah.
It just went under the radar, but
yeah,
such a good film. Really.
And that's why when we brought the question up that went under the radar, that's your answer, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, that's
Okay.
my answer.
Good choice, sir.
Number one.
Amazing. Good. I like that.
Yours is taken.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately.
John, end the episode, sir. What's your number one?
Number one? Well, you all know what my number one is.
Well, I know what it is.
I think I know what it is too.
I don't know. What is it?
Yeah, you know. Come
You
on.
do know.
No.
What is it? Go and tell the audience.
The Exorcist.
Knew it.
You didn't know it because you would have said it.
Yeah. Well, you were saying earlier about going to see films in the cinema. I've never seen it in the cinema because it's 1973. Press it. Press it.
No, you can't tell him to press it.
He didn't do
I
it.
was telling him to press it before
Dave
John
told me.
did.
Dave told me.
Yes, I mean, I didn't see it probably till, I would say, maybe at very early 80s.
Okay.
But it came out in 73.
Was there that hype, what Ant was saying, were people actually like dying or fainting while they're watching it?
Oh, I don't know, because like I say, I was only 9 when it came out in the cinema. I never went to the cinema. I saw it.
Because I wasn't
So-
born then, that's what I'm asking.
But no, I've read all the reports like what Ant said. You go and you could even do it now, Google it, and it'll tell you exactly the same thing. People were fainting in the streets and all that sort of shit, But being
Yeah, but did they though, or is
I
that
don't-
just an over exaggeration?
I don't know.
Maybe they like had a joint or something beforehand, and just fucking up, man, and just passed out or something. I don't know. Come on.
know. But the thing is, it's because, like I say, I was living in Ireland at the time, and
The holiest of holies.
It was the number one banned film. So of course, but like I say, I was only 9 years old, and I knew of
Jesus,
it, but
Mary, Joseph.
I think I was probably about.
Day of the Dead reference.
Yeah, I was probably about 14 or something when I first saw it. I was probably 14 when I saw
14?
most of my.
See, when we watched Day of the Dead, he's like, why does he keep saying that? I was like, he's Irish, John. Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
What was your thoughts when you first saw it as a little kid? Was you actually shitting yourself, or
God, yeah.
did you have nightmares?
I'll be honest,
No, I
right?
didn't
So
have nightmares on it.
So
but,
they unbanned it. It was banned for years, like John
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And then on its 25th anniversary, 1998, my dad took me to see it, and I was quite terrified with it. To be honest, there are some horrific scenes in that. For 25 years prior, I can sort of see that people were like, sort of passing out on certain scenes, like stabbing a cooch and whatnot. It's a bit horrific in the end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My first time watching it was when I was, I think when I was in year 8, and my friend had a copy of it, and after school went to watch it. And I was after finishing, I had to walk back home. And oh my god, that walk was the scariest walk ever.
There's one part
frightened
before
the shit out of
the main exorcist guy drives up to the house, and it's literally just a shot of her eyes, and the camera zooms into it, and I never forget this. I was like, trying to put my cardigan over my face, man. I was just terrified of that thing coming at me,
her eyes were like particular color when it
like a yellow color, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, but like she.
I'm not Reagan. I'm the devil.
Yeah.
The finally undo these straps.
Yeah, but she had a name for him, didn't she? It was like Captain Howdy, wasn't it?
Captain Howdy, yeah.
I just remember she goes,
She called him Captain Howdy.
Fuck me.
So yeah.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell. Karis, you prickle slime.
Yeah.
Fuck me, Jesus. Fuck me, Jesus.
I mean, it's good just to, I remember the first time I saw it, I so desperately wanted to see it because of all the hype behind it, because it was such a banned movie. It was like the number one banned film. And because of that, I've got to see it. I need to know why it's so banned. And you just, and people older than me, obviously, who had seen it, all said, you don't want to watch it. You don't want to see it. It'll frighten the shit out of you, And
it was one of those films where you say to an older audience, oh, I saw this recently. Yeah. And they always would bring up a scene that wasn't in the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued as to what cut they saw when it came out in 1973. He's like, "Oh, did you see the part when she walks down the stairs like a spider?" No,
that's not in.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
And obviously they put it in the director's cut in the end, but it's just like, so why is all this getting cut?
It wasn't in the original.
No, it's just weird how. I think there's a couple other parts that they reference as well, and I'm like, when did that happen?
Well, it's like because the demon that it's based on. They didn't just
tell us a story, John.
Well, they didn't make it up, if you know what I mean. If you go back through, like, the demons of hell and all that, this demon actually, I'm not saying it actually existed, obviously, but it's based on an actual demon.
Yeah.
So they didn't just make up some old bloody name and say it's a demon. And it's like. It's from Iraq, I believe, or somewhere out that
that's referenced at the beginning, isn't it?
And because one of the priests he uncovers him on a dig, this archaeological site somewhere, and he comes across this demon who he's heard of before, and he has like dreams of this demon standing over him and stuff like that. So then it goes like years later, and he's like an established priest now and so on, and he gets called in to help deal with this exorcism, and that's when he finds out that actually this is the same demon that I came across all those years ago, and it does get under your skin. It's
I've known you a while, and there's not one time where you don't talk about this film. Like when the TV series came out, you were like, "Oh, this connects with the film." And
see, I wasn't going to bother watching it because, like I've said to you before, there's certain films you should just leave alone. They were good enough when they were made. You don't need to do remakes now.
Exorcist 3 though is good though.
Yeah,
have you ever seen that? Number 3 is fucking awesome.
But it's like when there was talks about them doing the TV series, I was like, "Oh, really? Just don't bother." But when it actually come out and I watched it, I must admit I was blown away with it in certain parts of it because they brought elements from the original film into the TV series. I think it turns out. I mean, if anyone hasn't watched it, I'm going to spoil a bit of it for you now. It's about a child being possessed again, so it's got the elements of the original film. But you find out that I think it's either the aunt or the grandmother of the child that's possessed is Reagan from the first film. It's quite clever how they done it because you don't find out till like the end of, I think it's either the end of the first episode or a couple of episodes in. You find out who she is.
And they link it back to her.
Yeah, so when they realise who she is, because I think you see the name written down or something, but when you actually look at the name, you all of a sudden your mind thinks, "Oh my God, that's her from." So it's quite good how they did it. I think they did 2 seasons of it. I think.
It burns! It burns!
But yeah, the whole head swiveling round and round, and the bed jumping up and down off the floor and stuff like that. Mother! But that's exactly it, because she has elements where she's the demon and he's like pretty fucking bad. And then quick as anything, it reverts back to the child.
Oh, mate. It's that part when she's flipping on the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Mother, make it stop." And the next minute, she just puts her head back and her eyes go pale white and then her neck grows. Fucking hell. It's just like...
and then she pukes up all the greens.
I don't think I can watch it now when I've got kids and that. I definitely can't watch it now.
But I was saying to you about... I know it's sort of going off topic, but that computer game... The Men and Medan series.
Yes, you mentioned it connected with that or something, didn't it?
The third game, which is coming out shortly, is called House of Ashes. And the demon in that is Pazuzu, which is the demon from The Exorcist film.
Yeah.
So I like how they've brought... Because like I said, he was an actual demon. And he apparently exists like in real life sort of thing. So to actually bring that back into... I mean, I was quite clever how they've done that. And of all the Men and Medan games, the one game I really wanted to play, because it's like it's set in Iraq, what is now Iraq. Yeah. In an underground like temple sort of thing, and being chased by this like demon. So I had the interest already, but when I found out recently that it's Pazuzu, I thought, oh my God, I'm definitely going to play it now.
Oh my God. And then no one takes back.
Yeah.
It was like no one cares, John.
Yeah. So it's always going to be my number one.
What I want to know,
And they're doing a remake.
So after you've finally got to watch it, after it's been unbanned at 14, when you went back to Catholic Church and went, your mother sucks cocks in hell. How did that go down, John?
Well, didn't do it, obviously. Yes, I mean, obviously, like I said, I got brought to Ireland and everything, but my mum and dad weren't was so like zealots. You know what I mean? They weren't big into religion, and I always remember my mum and dad like stopped taking us to church on Sundays. And I remember that.
Because they watch The Exorcist. They're like, we're devil worshippers now.
I don't think they ever did watch it. I mean, they were never big religious nuts anyway. You know, I think a lot of the older people in Ireland are. But then it's why things like Father Ted and that interest me, because they took the humorous side of taking the piss out of religion. You know, so it's like, you know.
Who'd have thought we'd have brought up Father Ted on a horror episode?
Oh, because it's Irish, isn't it? That's why.
Take the Mickey out of the church.
Fucking love Irish.
Good choice, John.
But
it's one of my.
They're doing a
it's
remake
not on my list,
now.
but it was.
Blumhouse are doing a remake, aren't they?
I don't know, are they?
Yeah.
You keep saying this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
So that's it. Do we want to throw in the honourable mentions before we head off?
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, I think I've already said Insidious, House on the Haunted Hill, not the TV series.
From '99. That's a fucking awesome film.
I
love
have a
that
story
movie.
about that one. Me and Goku, we got his mum to rent it out for us, and obviously it's 18.
Yes.
And then we were watching it, and his dad came in. It's like, and he's looking at the cover and stuff. He's like, "What the hell is this? It's 18." And we're like, we're like shitting ourselves. Like, okay, I'm going to sit here and watch it with us. And we're like, oh fuck.
Oh no
and then
way.
obviously, you know, it opens a closet with all the tits, like chopped up tits.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh shit! It's like, what the fuck is this? And he's having to go at his mum and stuff. It's just like, oh shit. But we carried on watching.
Awkward.
But it was quite frightening. The doctor.
That's a good movie. Yeah.
It's really good. I'll shut myself on that because the way that doctor moves on the security camera, it just bugged me. It was like all like shaky and stuff. But
there's one part in that movie that always freaks me out, and there's a part where this woman's being chased down a hall. She doesn't know, she's just walking down and whatnot, and she keeps looking back and nothing's there, and then she turns around one last time, and there's this something down the very far end of this hallway in a doorway. And it's just standing there, completely still. The next minute, the camera just zooms in, and it's like in your face. It's like, fucking hell, that would scare the shit out of me.
And then one more bit is where like they go into this like security area where the security guard is there, and they're you're finally there. They turn him around, his face has literally been like cut out.
Yeah,
that
man.
was fucking creepy.
Creepy shit.
Yeah, so that
Good pick, that one.
That's a really good film. And the recent one, I think you've watched this as well. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
That's good. That is.
That
Me and John saw that cinema. Yeah, it was
that
good.
was wicked. Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. Yes, best Halloween film ever.
Wicked. Crawl.
You need to watch that, man. You'll love that.
The Invitation.
No, I haven't.
I'd say that's a thriller more, but I'll let you have it.
Lights Out.
Lights Out. Yeah.
And I've already said The Sinister.
Sinister.
I've got Sinister too on.
Yeah. What else have you got, sir?
I've got Woman in Black.
Yeah, okay. Daniel Radcliffe one, yeah.
But not the second, but the first one.
Okay, yeah.
That's based on a play, and that is.
Yes.
I saw that we went to school, and that was terrifying.
Fucking hell, that's terrifying for a school play.
Yeah, I know. We went and saw it, and as a stage play, it's terrifying, but it's a good film, that, and that's quite an old sort of horror story. I've got Saw on there, the first one.
Yeah.
But we've already talked about that in
previous episode, yeah.
I love Saw.
Saw's amazing.
It's a good one. Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
And Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Love Shaun of the Dead. Even if it's a bit comedy as well.
Yeah.
But there's some good zombie bits in it as well.
That's good.
28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
I had Silence of the Lambs on there as well. But again, as an honourable mention.
Yeah.
Horror elements in it. And one that, I don't know if it counts, but have you seen Ghost Stories?
I know of it.
Yes, with Martin Freeman. Yeah, I got you guys to watch that.
Hang on, I think I have.
You have seen it, yeah. You have, honestly.
Isn't that what I said? Ghost Stories?
No, Ghost Scary Stories. This one's called Ghost Stories, and there are 3 separate stories.
I think this is.
I do.
You have seen it, honestly.
I think that was based on another.
That's
theatre
another
production.
play. Yes, yeah.
But it's that was so close to going on my list. But I thought I'm looking at stricter horror ones. But because that's
a good shout out.
mind fuck that one.
Yeah,
isn't it?
big time.
If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's this guy who debunks ghost stories, doesn't he?
Yep.
But then he's going around and he's talking to these individual people about their ghost story, and it has one of my favourite, like, creepy, makes me cringe
I love
body
the
horror bits.
The guy who works in that.
I think you're going to talk
Is that
about
Paul Whitehouse?
Yeah.
the guy who's a security guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So
That
this
is
creature.
shit.
So he goes out looking. I'm just going to talk about it, even though it's an
Yeah,
honourable
go for it.
mention. He goes out and he ends up trapped in this metal room, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's looking for this little girl that he can't. And she appears in the corner, doesn't
Yep.
she? And then there's a fantastic, horrible, creepy bit
man.
where her hand crawls up his chest, and the actress does
yes.
it. And the way the hand moves is like a spider or something. And then the hand comes up under his face, and he's just so paralysed with fear. And one finger starts going down his throat of this weird ghost thing.
Yep.
And I'm not going to spoil the ending
Yeah,
because
no.
I do not want to spoil, but it goes very bizarre towards the
Yeah,
end.
definitely.
And all of this way up, again, all makes sense
It
when
does.
you've seen the ending.
Damn
And it
good
only
show.
came to me this morning when I was thinking about it, and I'm going to go and
Do you know
rewatch
because
it.
we haven't watched that for a couple of years
Yeah.
now, and I was like, completely forgot about it
Yeah.
until you mentioned it. Yeah,
Good film.
it's damn good film.
If I could recommend one thing, go and watch it.
Yeah.
It's a complete,
100%.
but it all makes sense at the end.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Because
does.
Everything takes a completely different.
Everything that happens
Is-
actually
makes sense at the end.
So good.
But watch that. That is a fantastic film.
Damn good choice, that one.
And it was going to go in, but I thought I'm going to go for more.
I reckon.
No, it only didn't go in because, like I say, I wanted to go for more recognisable horror tropes or themes. But as an
You can always
honourable
do a
mention-
part 3 then today. Do new top 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, as an honourable mention, go and watch that. Go and watch
Yes.
it.
100%.
I agree. Yeah.
John, any honourable mentions?
Have you got any 80s
Go on,
ones?
go for it.
Salem's Lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at me, teacher.
Yeah. 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
I liked that
Yes,
film.
it's a good film. That's a comic book film as well.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
8 Days a Night, yeah.
All the It's, though I do
Oh,
prefer
yeah.
the newer
Yeah.
ones.
Is
to
that
the
because
older
you're
ones.
plugging your episodes there? Is that why?
No. And then a film that you recommended that we watched here, Dead Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
solid.
know.
Yeah.
I like
To me,
that
it's a horror. It's like
It is a horror, yeah.
It's like a psychological horror.
That's
but
James
it's
Wan
like,
again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
It's
man.
the horror film that put my sister off
Yeah.
watching horror films.
Oh, that scene. Oh, so scary.
That's it. That's all I've got. But
Freaky.
I thought you were going to. The way you looked at me, you had like millions of
no,
them.
but as the show's gone on, I've thought of others, but I haven't got them written down.
there
so
are
it doesn't
so
matter.
many though.
Yeah,
Nightmare
of course
on
there
Elm
is, yeah.
Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got so many good ones. And all different. A Hostel that was brought up
Hostel,
earlier.
yeah.
Love the first one of that because
Yeah.
again you can. That's
I thought of
terrifying
another
because
one.
you could believe that happening.
It was based on a true story, wasn't it? Like
No, I think
they
so.
came across like, they do it in Thailand or something.
I don't know, but there was a woman who tried to say that had happened to her
Okay.
later in the news, but I think she was lying. Anyway,
Oh, right.
But it's terrifying because you think that could happen.
100%.
Another one you recommended that I suddenly remembered again now. Wreck, the Spanish one.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Fuck yeah, that's a good movie.
What about the
I
Descent?
did like
Was
that.
That was in my top 5.
Yeah.
The Descent. Yeah.
Yeah, the wreck
It's
was good.
just
shout.
the Wreck is amazing. Yeah. Oh, scared the fuck out of us.
I think I'm forgetting one of the
good
foreign
film.
ones. There's some foreign really good ones, but I can't remember.
We'll stop recording. You'll be like, I should have mentioned this.
Yeah, because it's like we were saying about the Grudge films and the Ring films. I kind of had them in my head. I hadn't written them down until they've been mentioned.
Yeah,
Like,
the
God,
Grudge
yeah,
is
cool.
the Grudge is the reason why I never go up in the loft on my own ever.
Yeah.
That opening scene,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
I remember when you kept saying, "Look, just look. Do you see that? Oh,
just that face. No,
Oh,
just not
yeah.
happening.
So yeah, I mean, it was a very I think we've all kind of said it was a very hard list to make because there's so many.
I
films
think
you
there's
want
some
to-
really good choices in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was maybe you didn't clash at all in your one, but
There's so many. That's the good thing about
Yeah.
horror. There's so many, and we're in the spooktacular period of the year
this is
now.
it. We got to wait another year now to do another top 5 of it.
But go out
watch a horror film every night in October.
when it's Halloween. Go out, get yourself a load of the films lined up.
Yeah.
Turn the lights off.
Scare yourself.
Then shit
Lock
your
your
pants.
doors, bolt your windows, and turn out the lights.
Then shit your pants.
But Trick or Treat, that's such
So
a good
good.
film. I've completely
Again,
forgot about
underrated,
that.
I reckon.
Yes,
I must admit,
that's one I should have
forgot about
fucking said. Underrated.
I forgot about it until you actually mentioned it. Yeah.
So good.
Did like that.
So we'll
And
leave it there.
again, it's a film you recommended. So
It was, yeah.
we watched it here, didn't we?
We did. We did it on the Halloween marathon.
Yeah.
So we'll end it there, guys. Just want to say big thank you for doing that. Thank you for
worries.
doing the episode as well. Hope you enjoyed
Anytime.
yourselves.
I hope they did.
And if you enjoyed what you listened to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast, on Instagram at M.T.V.B podcast, on Twitter at M.T.V.B podcast 1, or on TikTok at M.T.V.B podcast 197. So from now until next year, this is Ant-Man, John, Big Gal, and Dave signing off.
Peace out.
Good guys.
A very,
Hope you enjoy.
very happy Halloween to you all.